the maximum level expert. She thrives in interstellar riches. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 976. The Flying Tigers appear again too. Wen Jiu was not unreasonable, and Yuan Kinga wanted the token to activate the navigation. So she found the identity token very quickly, so that the other party could activate the so-called navigation system. With the navigation, they knew how to get to the headquarters base of the 13th military region. So the group left the territory of the Civet Cat tribe, and followed the navigation to the base of the 13th military region. However, the members of the T-07 team were walking on their legs. They gritted their teeth, and walked from dawn to dusk. Brother Heyo, take someone to pick up some firewood. Because Cheng Xiao was still angry, and refused to speak, Yuan Kinga took over the position of team leader. Sister Xiaoya, please go pick some wild fruits with Bubble. Remember to move around, and don't go too far. She assigned tasks to the team members, and everyone went to do things in a law-abiding manner. Although they did not have a wisdom ring, and could not use the things in the space. In fact, the 13th military region was short of various supplies, so they had long been accustomed to finding things in the wild. Things like making fire, hunting, and looking for medicine are all trivial to them. Hey, do you want to eat buns? Wen Jiu took out the buns made by two Marksu from the insulated lunchbox. She also found a mat in the Ziji space and laid it on the ground so that she would not have to worry about moisture when sitting on the ground. As soon as she finished speaking, Shenzing shook his head and refused. No, I want to fast during this period. Okay, then you watch me eat. She didn't understand the other party's strange temper, so she simply picked up the buns and started to eat. Two Marksu made vegetarian buns, which were made of fresh zucchini cut into small pieces and mixed with fried golden eggs. It tasted not only of the burnt fragrance of eggs, but also of the light fragrance of zucchini. One bite had the softness of eggs and the crispness of zucchini. The flexible dough would spread a sweetness while chewing. She finished all 4 buns in the lunchbox without paying attention. You can really eat a lot. Shenzhen couldn't help but tease. 4 buns as big as fists. I think you are a relative of Dankang. Wen Jiu almost spit out the water in his mouth when he heard this. He actually used Dankang to describe her? Did the other party think she didn't understand? Besides, what are 4 buns? She can eat 8 at most. So after calming down, she retorted mercilessly, thank you for thinking I'm a divine beast. It's better than you being like a male ghost. Shenzing began to regret in his heart again. Why did he have to pick a fight? But he didn't show it on his face. He just snorted coldly and flew into the air. Seeing this, Yuan Kinga, who had just made the bed with leaves, couldn't help but say, it really looks like a male ghost. Is it right? Wen Jiu suppressed his laughter and agreed. Wait, Kinga, do you know what a ghost is? As soon as she finished speaking, Yuan Kinga asked blankly, isn't a ghost a ghost? Point that's not wrong, she continued with a smile on her face. It's just that there are no ghosts in my hometown. I only knew about ghosts after I came here. Her words were half true and half false, mainly to trick Yuan Kinga. She had talked with Kaioshishi and others before, but they didn't know the existence of ghosts, let alone monsters, gods and the like. If it weren't for the sudden appearance of Fox Kiki, they wouldn't believe that there were monsters in the world. Is that so? Yuan Kinga sat cross-legged on the leaves. That may be the difference between the planets. I have often heard teachers talk about monsters and ghosts since I was a child. But I haven't seen a real ghost yet. I just saw monsters when I went out. As soon as she finished speaking, the teammate who went out to pick wild fruits came back. Seeing this, she hurried forward. Thank you for your hard work, Sister Xiaoya. Did you encounter any danger? Look, both of us are fine, so of course we didn't encounter any danger. The teammate she called Sister Xiaoya handed over a few wild fruits, but we seem to have encountered monsters. Their long tails look creepy, so we didn't rush forward, but just squatted in the bushes and waited for them to leave. The other party had just finished speaking when a cold male voice sounded. Is it thick, long, and curved upward? Shenzing suddenly floated over. Did you see the color of the tail clearly? Hearing this, Xiao hesitated for a moment before answering. It's almost the same as you described. As for the color, it seems to be yellow, white, and black, a bit like the color of tiger skin. After carefully recalling it, she confirmed it again. It was indeed the color of tiger skin. Could it be that they met a tiger spirit? However, the handsome man in front of her did not answer her doubts, but just rose up like a puff of smoke and floated to the other side. Wen Jiu had just taken out his sleeping bag and put it in order when he saw Shenzing floating over. There are flying tigers nearby. The other party deliberately lowered his voice. Something is wrong. Hearing this, she immediately adjusted her state. What do you mean? Do you want to investigate the situation? Wait and see what happens. After considering for a moment, Shenzing finally turned into a physical body and fell down. 5 miles ahead is the territory of the butterfly clan. Logically, the flying tigers should not appear here. If the Emperor Xiu Valley is in the center of the green grass garden, then the flower sea of the butterfly clan is in the deepest part of the green grass garden. The monsters living in the green grass garden don't often come here, let alone those monsters that are not from the green grass garden, so I think it's very strange. After listening to the other party's explanation, she couldn't help but frowned with some worry. Could it be that the flying tigers want to invade the green grass garden? If the flying tigers really want to make trouble, then don't blame her for being ruthless. After all, if she wants to cooperate with the Jade Rabbit clan, she must first ensure safety. After saying this, Shenzing was silent for a long time before answering. It's impossible. The flying tigers have Beihu in charge. Even if they are cruel and want to cause trouble, Beihu will not let them do so. He and Beihu have been friends for many years, so he naturally knows what the other party is like. But the frequency of the flying tigers has been a bit high recently. He frowned when he thought of this. After dealing with these human problems, I will go to Menghu Ridge to ask Beihu about the situation. Hearing this, Wen Jiu didn't say anything more. It's not convenient for her, a human, to meddle in the affairs between the monsters. Besides, disputes between people have never stopped, not to mention these monsters who are naturally aggressive. As long as these monsters don't affect her interests, she is too lazy to meddle in other people's affairs and add to her troubles. Today's second update has been successfully delivered. Thank you to every little angel for your support. 030 Whisper. It is a heartfelt thank you. The author has had power outages every day recently, and the 40-degree high temperature has made the author just want to lie on the floor. I can persist in writing because of your support and company. CAC. Chapter 977. A hot man passed by. Grandpa, I took a picture of the blue and white porcelain you mentioned last time. Should I put it in your study? Ming Yahan took off his suit jacket and handed it to the robot butler guarding the door. He had just visited the new factory of Wuiao Foods and was in a much better mood than usual. After all, when the new factory is in operation, the production of Wuiao Foods will increase. At that time, the sales of various foods will also increase, which means that star coins will flow to him like a tide. Who would not be happy about such a thing? Hearing this, old man Ming waved his hand and said, how can such a treasure be placed in the study to gather dust? Do you see the new pearwood shelf I bought over there? Ask the butler to put it on top for me, and remember to put it in the middle. Yes, I know. Ming Yahan agreed reluctantly. He knew that with his grandfather's love of showing off, he would definitely put this rare blue and white porcelain in the hall, so that every old friend of the other party could see it when they came. So he took out the box from the Ziggy space and handed it to the robot housekeeper carefully. Just as he was about to step upstairs, he was suddenly stopped by old man Ming. Xiao Han, Grandpa heard that you have been dealing in tea recently. The other party said the purpose without hiding it. You also know that Grandpa's old friends love to taste tea the most. I wonder if you have any good tea that Grandpa can show off and share with me. He was speechless after hearing this, but he still smiled gently and replied, Grandpa, I collect tea to make new products. So I won't collect tea that is too difficult to find, otherwise I won't be able to mass produce it. He started collecting different kinds of tea because he received the new formula sent by Wen Jiu. In addition to quality and taste, the most important thing is quantity. After all, Wu food currently does not have a high-end line, and the products it makes are all relatively cheap and affordable lines. Oh, why didn't you tell me earlier? Old Man Ming changed his expression in an instant. If I had known, I wouldn't have waited for you here. Old Man Zhang and Old Man Cheng asked me to go fishing, but I pushed them both away in order to wait for you. Ming Yahan felt like he was being blamed. He was busy with work recently and rarely went home, but Old Man Ming didn't have to wait here. If the other party wanted to ask anything, he could just go to Starnet to find him. There was nothing he could do. Who made him have such an old naughty grandfather? The other party's unreasonable temper was exactly the same as his mother's. After so many years, he had long been accustomed to it. So he smiled and used the trick of changing the subject. It's all my fault. I will tell you earlier next time. Speaking of which, I learned a piece of news today. It is rumored that Milei's auction house will auction the works of calligraphy master Zhuang next Saturday. As soon as these words came out, Old Man Ming smiled and said, "Oh, my grandson is amazing. He can always help me get first-hand information and help me take pictures of things." The other party just changed the subject when he said this, and even his tone became sarcastic. "When you mention this calligraphy master, I think of Old Man Jiu. He insisted that he met a young man who was good at calligraphy on a low-level planet. As a result, the last time I asked him to ask that young man for a new calligraphy and painting, he still hasn't been able to produce it. Zhao Han, you must take a picture of Master Zhuang's works for me. Then I will definitely go to Old Man Jiu to show it to him. I don't believe that there is a young man whose calligraphy and painting are better than Master Zhuang." Old Man Jiu dares to say anything to save face. Ming Yahan naturally knew the conflict between Old Man Ming and Old Master Jiu. Old Master Jiu's grandson had the audacity to deceive his brother some time ago. Originally, he had no feelings for the Jiu family, but since that incident, he began to target the Jiu family's industry openly and secretly. Therefore, even if Old Man Ming didn't say it, he would help the other party take pictures of the works. Who asked the people of the Jiu family to attack Ming Jiu first? And they used such a despicable method as drugging. "Don't worry, Grandpa. I will definitely take a picture for you." After he made a solemn promise, Old Man Ming let go of his hand. While the other party was instructing the housekeeper to place the blue and white porcelain, he quickly ran upstairs like a flash of smoke. Although the Ming family manor is large, the Ming family has a small population, so they live in the same building. Ming Yahan's room is on the 3rd floor. As soon as he went up, he ran into Ming Jiu. "Brother, you are finally back." As soon as the other party saw him appear, his frowning eyebrows relaxed. Seeing this, he couldn't help but half squinted his eyes and looked at Ming Jiu. "Tell me, what are you up to? Did you blow up the studio? Or do you want to buy a new mecha?" As soon as he finished speaking, the other party waved his hands and said, "Neither." Aye. Seeing that Ming Jiu stuttered for a long time and couldn't say anything, he knew that the other party must be looking for him for a difficult problem that was not easy to solve. So he took Ming Jiu into the study first, then looked up at him and asked, "Just say whatever you want to say, I'll see if I can help you solve it." After he finished speaking, he turned around to get a cup of water, wanting to pour some warm water to moisten his throat. "Brother, I want to go to the federal headquarters to find Luyan." Ming Yahan was so scared that he almost lost his grip on the cup. He turned around in great surprise and saw Ming Jiu said firmly, "I heard that after Luyan completed the temporary mission, he has been staying in the federal headquarters and has not come out. And I sent him a message on the Star Network, but he didn't reply at all, so I was very worried about him." "Stop," he interrupted the other party before he finished speaking. "You are a student of the Imperial Capital Military Academy. You should know what the federal headquarters is, right? Even if Luyan has not come out since he went in, it is normal. You still remember Brother Yu Xiaoyu? Although he is not a member of the federal headquarters, he is an important general of the 2nd Military Region. Every time he loses contact, it will be 10 days, half a month or even longer. Do you know, when I said I would go to the 2nd Military Region to look for him, he felt that Ming Jiu was too sensitive, so he would think too much about such a small matter. After all, Luyan is different from Ming Jiu. He has been on missions since he was a child, and it is normal for him to lose contact. Okay, Mingyu lowered his head in disappointment. I hope I'm overthinking. Seeing this, Mingyahan's heart softened. Don't worry, Lu Yan is the son that Lu has high hopes for. No matter who gets into trouble, he won't get into trouble. But he came back to his senses as he spoke. Because Lu had no intention of covering up Lu Yan, his presence has become stronger and stronger during this period of time. But the secrets of the mission itinerary should not be disclosed. So where did Mingyu hear about it? Today's third update has also been successfully delivered, thanks again to the lovely little angels for their support. CAC. Chapter 978. A hot man passed by too. Muyusi told me, Mingyu said with a guilty conscience. He has a friend whose brother works at the federal headquarters. Hearing this, Mingyahan couldn't help but raise his eyebrows in surprise. How come I didn't know that you two had such a good relationship? It hadn't been long since the last incident, and even he still remembered the Mu family. And he knew that Mingyu was not a good-tempered person, and the other party would never let Muyusi go easily. It's not that they have a good relationship. Mingyu scratched his head. He apologized to me before, but I didn't accept it. Later, he sent me messages every day to harass me, but I never replied to him once. Then 2 days ago, when I was playing games, he suddenly popped up a video call for me. I hung up at first, but he kept calling me. I couldn't resist and answered it, and then I learned about this news. But his friend's brother didn't reveal any important news. He just mentioned that he saw Lu Yan return to the headquarters to hand in a task. After listening to the ins and outs of this matter, he roughly guessed Muyusi's thoughts. The other party probably wanted to please his brother, so he helped to find out about Lu Yan. After all the students of the Imperial Capital Military Academy knew that Mingyu and Lu Yan had a very good relationship now. So if Muyusi wanted to resolve the conflict, it was normal to start from this aspect. After Mingyahan thought for a moment, he waved to Mingyu and said, although I won't interfere with your friendship, you still have to have a scale in your heart. People like Muyusi who use despicable means are definitely not the ones you should make friends with. He was still worried about Mingyu and Lu Yan's friendship before, but he didn't expect that the two teenagers got along well. Although he didn't have a good impression of the Lu family, he was not a person who would generalize. Seeing that Mingyu and Lu Yan were having fun, he didn't care about their affairs anymore. But Muyusi was different. This person was notorious and belonged to the devil among the devils. On weekdays, he either went to nightclubs or went to clubs to play games. He was not in good shape all day. Besides, Muyusi had drugged Mingyu before. Although the other party failed, he still silently remembered this account. If Mingyu really wanted to hang out with Muyusi, he would definitely discipline this stinky brother. Brother, don't worry. Mingyu quickly explained. It's impossible for me to become friends with someone like Muyusi, and you also said that making friends is more about quality than quantity. I have friends like Brother Yan, Brother Fan, and Brother Ren, which are enough. He never thought of making friends with Muyusi. He could say that he had heard about the other party's deeds. So even if Mingyahan didn't remind him, he would stay away from Muyusi. He looked up and saw Mingyahan seemed to be hesitant to speak, and he knew that the other party wanted to give him a lesson. So he quickly changed the subject. Oh, by the way, brother, didn't you say last time that you were going to research new products related to tea? Have you researched them now? Can I be the first to try them? As soon as he finished speaking, Mingyahan said helplessly, besides researching mechas, you're looking for delicious food every day. It's better than running out to do bad things. He licked his lips. Brother, you haven't answered my question yet. Have you researched new products? Hearing this, Mingyahan shook his head and replied softly, not yet. I'm still waiting for Sister Fake to send me tea samples. When he went to investigate the market some time ago, he suddenly came up with an idea to make beverages. So he talked to Wen Jiu, but he didn't expect that the other party had the same idea and sent him 2 beverage recipes. I thought you were going to use tea to make food, but it turned out to be a beverage. After Mingyu learned about the use of tea, he pouted his lips in disappointment. He had been fantasizing for a long time before what delicious food he could make with tea, but Mingyahan directly shattered his fantasy. Forget it, I'll go back to my room first, he said as he walked towards the door of the study. Brother, you continue to work on your things. I'll go back to study the mecha. As he expected, before he walked out, he saw Ming Yehan click on the light screen panel and connected the video call from his assistant. So he didn't say anything more, just went back to his room silently. The green grass on my head. Everyone, please share the new video of Sister Fake. Like it if you should, and comment if you should. Galaxy sweetheart, I have completed the task of sharing, liking, and commenting. I have done it for all 10 accounts, big and small. Big brother monkey. By the way, I would like to remind everyone to come to my star blog in your spare time and share the top dumpling review. The man like the wind, I know. Brother KO just keeps urging us to do data every day, and I'm almost exhausted. Little bear puff. Puff puff. After all, Brother KO is a former big fan of a famous female star, and he has also served as the president of the fan club of several stars. Happy mole. Actually, I think it's okay not to do data. Sister Fake is already famous enough now, and the number of fans is enough to stand on the first line anchor. Ming Jiu just opened the Bicalive broadcast and received a message from the Money fan group. He took a quick look and found that it was Brother KO who was urging him to do data, so he turned off the message reminder. Then he skillfully clicked on the special care and found the anchor Gongzi Fake. TSK, why is it not broadcasting again? He said and flipped through the recorded videos. Let's watch my favorite braised pork. He really likes to watch Gongzi Fake's live broadcast, but the other party broadcasts too few times. Twice a week is considered a lot. Hello, everyone. I'm the anchor Gongzi Fake. He listened to the voice that was so familiar that he couldn't be more familiar, opened a bag of peanut nougat, and ate while watching. Alas, it's a pity that my brother refused to give me the real information about Gongzi Fake, he said to himself while chewing peanut nougat. Otherwise I could have taken advantage of the holiday to sneak out and find Gongzi Fake himself. As soon as he finished speaking, a message popped up on the light screen panel. Fanny, you are so cool, damn. Brothers, I'm shocked. Seeing this, Ming Jiu immediately turned the light screen panel over. Future master of the Ming family, what's wrong with you? Renpio, what happened? Did your brother fail the exam? Or has the Ruai Military Academy also caught up with Beichuan Academy? After seeing the message from another friend, he remembered that Fan Zhao had accompanied his brother to take the exam. So he sent a message to tease while eating nougat. Future master of the Ming family, didn't someone say that his younger brother is the next Liu Yan? How come he couldn't even pass the entrance exam to the Ruai Military Academy? I'll post today's first update first. Please check it out, little angels. Chapter 979. A hot man passed by 3. At this moment, Liu Yan, who had just submitted the mission report, sneezed. The time to complete the mission this time was longer than he expected, and the process was quite thrilling, but fortunately it was successfully completed in the end. Mr. Liu, do you have a cold? Captain Zhang joked cheerfully. Hearing this, he slowly shook his head. No. Seeing him like this, the other party continued. The temperature has dropped a bit recently. I just got out of bed this morning and I sneezed several times because of the cold. Fortunately, I turned on the temperature control system later, which made me, a patient with rhinitis, feel more comfortable. Although he didn't want to listen to Captain Zhang's nonsense, he still remained polite and waited for the other party to finish. Oh, by the way, Mr. Liu, do you think our cooperation this time is perfect? Can you take me with you next time you go on a mission? Before saying this, Captain Zhang encouraged himself in his heart. After getting along with Liu Yan for this period of time, he found that the other party was not an indifferent person, but just not very good at expressing emotions. Moreover, Liu Yan's ability is really strong. If the other party had not been there for this mission, I'm afraid all of them would have been doomed. So on the way back, he kept thinking about whether he could follow Liu Yan to do missions for a long time in the future. With the other party's golden thigh, would he still have to worry about promotion and military rank? After saying that, Liu Yan frowned a little unhappy. He didn't want to be too close to the soldiers in the military district, and every time he did a mission, it was Lu Wen who arranged it, so it was not up to him to lead which team. But just when he was about to refuse Captain Zhang, he saw Lucy I walking over with a smile. "Let's go, the leader wants to see you." The other party directly passed Captain Zhang and conveyed the new order to him. Because he didn't want to communicate more with Lucy I, he just nodded slightly to show that he knew it and then walked towards the mobile light ladder. Seeing Lu Yan's figure getting farther and farther away, Captain Zhang couldn't help but swallow nervously. If Lu Yan is cold on the outside but warm on the inside, then Lucy I is a terrifying smiling tiger. When Lucy I first came to the first military region to take up his post, many people wanted to show off their power to him, and they had all kinds of troubles. After all, Lucy I had the rank of general when he first arrived. How could the soldiers who had worked hard in the military region for many years, but had not been promoted bear this? However, no matter how they made things difficult for him, he always had a smiling face. At first, he thought Lucy I was a gentle type, but later he found out that he was only kind on the surface, and his methods were really terrifying when he was dealing with people behind the scenes. Recalling this, he suddenly regretted it very much. Why did he think Lu Yan was easy to talk to when his brother and father were so difficult to deal with? He really had been with Lu Yan for a long time during this period of time, and he had forgotten the methods of Lucy I and Lu Shanao. He now only hoped that Lucy I had not heard what he had just said, otherwise his soldier career would probably end here. Just when Captain Zhang was extremely worried, he saw Lucy I put on his signature smile. In other words, although the corners of his mouth were raised, there was no ripple in his eyes. "Captain Zhang, you did a good job on this mission. Your performance is excellent." Hearing this, Captain Zhang looked up flattered. He had just prepared a lot of speeches, but the only thing he didn't expect was that Lucy I would actually praise him. So he didn't know what to say for a moment, and could only purse his lips and smile awkwardly in response. However, the smile on his face didn't last long, and was shattered by a glare from Lucy I. "In fact, I think people should be more honest, and don't interfere in things they can't touch." The other party lowered his eyes, covering up the coldness in his eyes. "What do you think, Captain Zhang?" Seeing this, he immediately shuddered. It was Admiral Lu who said, "Well, I won't say anything else." Lucy I felt that his reminder was in place, so he walked towards the direction of the mobile light ladder. "Future master of the Ming family, Brother Yan, are you interested in going to Cronus? Do you remember Fan Zhao whom I mentioned to you before? He accompanied his brother to take the exam for the Ria Military Academy. Future master of the Ming family, Brother Yan, if you see the message, please reply to me. I'm really super worried about you." Lu Yan arrived at the door of the head office by the mobile light elevator, but the soldiers guarding the door said that the head Lu was still in a meeting, so he stood quietly and clicked on the light screen panel. He was busy with tasks during this period and really had no time to reply. Moreover, he went directly to the federal headquarters. As soon as he came back, he had to report the mission process and write a mission summary, which resulted in him only having time to take a look at the message now. There was an extremely conspicuous red dot next to Ming Yu's avatar, which meant that the other party had sent at least 99 messages. Seeing this, he instantly didn't want to click it. And Ming Yu was still sending messages non-stop at this moment, which really made him have no desire to reply. So he silently swiped down and found Wen Jiu's cartoon avatar. "Jiu Yao Chen Wangun, brother, I have sent the express. Remember to sign for it. I paid the insurance fee." "Jiu Yao Chen Wangun, by the way, I have to go out for something, so I asked my friend to send the express. But you can rest assured that she will not leak the information." "Jiu Yao Chen Wangun, my friend said that the express has been sent. I'm here to remind you to sign for it. Don't let the express be automatically returned." Seeing this, Lu Yan first raised the corners of his mouth very happily, and then collapsed at a speed visible to the naked eye. If he remembered correctly, the address he left for Wen Jiu was Mingyu's home, and he didn't know if Mingyu, the kid, had returned the express. He wanted to stay in the Imperial Capital Military Academy at first, but there was still some time before school started, so after thinking about it, he left Mingyu's address. It seems that he has to reply to the 99 messages sent by Mingyu, even if he doesn't want to. However, he did not read all the messages sent by the other party one by one. He chose to get straight to the point. Yan, did you receive a courier sent to me? At this time, Meng Jiu was chatting with other friends about gossip. Unexpectedly, a window suddenly popped up on the light screen panel. Seeing this, he immediately became alert. However, the message sent by Lu Yan made him a little confused. He thought about it carefully for a long time before he knew what the other party was talking about. Future master of the Ming family, I think I received it. I left it in the studio. Brother Yan, you finally replied to my message. You don't know how worried I'm about you. Just as Meng Jiu was pouring out his heart, a picture suddenly flashed through his mind. Oops, he seems to have blown up his studio just last week. Today's second update has been delivered smoothly. Thank you little angels for your support. QWQ, whispering, why is there a power outage every day? Day after day, the author's phone has never been fully charged. The most painful thing is that there was a water outage today tat. So the author embarked on the road to buy mineral water today and had to carry the bucket at home to walk down the street to get water. ORZ I don't need to say more about the rest. Those who understand will understand cac. Poor third update. Let it appear during the day QVQ. Chapter 980 A hot man passed by 4. Washang. Is there anything left after the studio was blown up before? Meng Jiu called the robot butler in a panic because he had blown up the studio too many times, so he had long been accustomed to letting the other party deal with it. When he was smelting new parts last week, he accidentally blew up the studio again, so he became a skilled hands-off boss and didn't care about any losses to the studio at all. Anyway, he was used to keeping important items in the wisdom ring, and at most it would take some time to rebuild the studio and need to buy new materials and tools. Who knew that Lu Yan's express delivery was left in the studio this time? Simonas, Washang replied expressionlessly, left a pile of burned garbage and waste, and arranged for a cleaning company to take it away a few days ago. Hearing this, Meng Jiu suddenly felt a gloomy feeling in his life. He looked at the message sent by Lu Yan, and the express delivery seemed to be very important. If the other party knew that the express delivery was destroyed, would he come to chop him with a knife? When he thought of this, his eyes lost their luster. If he had known earlier, he would have been more cautious when doing research. In this way, the studio will not be blown up, and Lu Yan's express delivery will not be destroyed. Although Washang is not a highly intelligent bionic man, his intelligence system is no less than that of a bionic man, so he was very sensitive to Meng Jiu's low mood. As the butler of the Ming family, he naturally has to take care of every master. So he switched to caring mode, put on a gentle smile and asked, young master, have you encountered any problems? Oh, I'm finished. Meng Jiu wiped his face in despair. Brother Yan's express delivery was blown up by me, and he will definitely come to settle accounts with me. Hearing this, he immediately turned on the search mode and memory recall. In just a moment, he gave Meng Jiu the answer. The express delivery signed by Lu Yan was received last Monday. Because the young master's studio is undergoing renovation, all the express deliveries received on the same day have been moved to storage room number 3. As soon as he finished speaking, Meng Jiu instantly changed into an ecstatic expression. Washang, are you telling the truth? It's true, he confirmed several times, and the young master has been staying in the studio since he returned home last Tuesday, so the express delivery has not been moved in storage room number 3. Hearing this, Meng Jiu just hurriedly thanked him and ran to storage room number 3. He just returned home last Tuesday to be busy. Fortunately, Lu Yan's express delivery was signed on Monday, otherwise his life would really be in danger. Thinking about it, he sped up his running speed and rushed into storage room number 3. As soon as he entered, he saw many cardboard boxes piled together, and he hurried over to search for them. Ah, that's it. After he found the express delivery that was signed for by Lu Yan, he quickly opened the light screen panel to reply to the other party. Future master of the Ming family, Brother Yan, I found your express delivery. When will you come to pick it up? Or should I send it to you? Future master of the Ming family and Brother Yan, did you see the message I sent before? Do you want to go to Kronos together before school starts? By the way, meet the amazing woman that brother Fan mentioned. However, Lu Yan did not reply to Mingyu's message at this time because Lu Wen who ended the meeting just a few minutes ago, so he called him in to inquire about the situation of this mission. He glanced at the familiar black, white, and grey color scheme in the office, then lowered his eyes and began to report the situation of the mission in a cold voice. In fact, the initial progress of this mission was still very smooth, but someone deliberately attracted a high-level interstellar alien beast in the middle of the journey, which caused the completion time of the mission to be later than he expected. Fortunately, the soldiers were very convinced by him at that time, and almost no one dared to disobey him, so the appearance of high-level interstellar beasts did not cause too much damage and casualties. Well done, better than I expected. Although Lu Wen who was praising him, there was no joy on his face. Seeing this, he just remained silent and did not answer, because he knew that the other party would immediately change the subject and start pointing fingers at him about where he did not do well. However, Lu Wen who did not play according to the routine, but asked about his plans after school started. It's not wrong to train hard and study hard, the other party said, while tapping the table with his fingertips. Although there are still a few years before graduation, you are different from other students after all, and some things should be planned early. What the leader said is right. I don't know what the leader plans to do. Lu Yan only replied indifferently with an official word. Hearing this, Lu Wen who first clicked on the light screen panel and then pretended to mention it casually. The Federal Ministry of Education sent me a document a few days ago, which is a summary of the options chosen by the victims in the DSTW incident. Now 2/3 of the victims have chosen a satisfactory compensation plan, and the remaining 1/3 of the victims are still negotiating with the administrative department staff. As soon as he finished speaking, he saw Lu Yan raised his eyebrows nonchalantly. So, do you want to send me to find those victims to compromise as soon as possible? The word compromise is not used correctly. He smiled nonchalantly. Our federal headquarters is already doing its best to compensate these victims, and the personnel of the 3rd military region and the 5th military region are about to be sentenced. Before he finished speaking, the other party interrupted coldly. Does President Lu have any other instructions? If not, I will take my leave first. Hearing this, he did not feel angry about it, but only looked at Lu Yan with interest. No wonder your brother said that you have gained some popularity. Your emotions are much richer now than before. However, the other party did not answer him, but just saluted and wanted to leave. Seeing this, he put on an ambiguous smile. TSK, I also wanted to talk to you about Wen Jiu. Do you know which military school she finally chose? He waited for Lu Yan to stop expectantly, but the other party said coldly, I don't know, and I don't want to know. After saying this, Lu Yan strode out of his office without showing any curiosity at all, as if he didn't know Wen Jiu. Seeing this, Lu Wen couldn't help but feel a little bored. Could it be that the information in his hand was wrong? But it was normal to think about it. Lu Yan was his son, and naturally, like him, he would never spend a little more time on useless things. If so, then Lu Xi's previous plans should be put on hold. He really didn't want to hurt this father-son relationship that was originally rare because of his suspicion and thinking. Finally, today's 3rd update has been delivered. The author's home finally received a call cack. I hugged the little angels and burst into tears, whispering, this hot man will be temporarily locked up by the author again. There will be a longer plot in the evening. Chapter 981 Arrival at the 13th Military Region Base 1. We're almost there. Fortunately, we made it on the last day. Otherwise, we'd have to wait until the next full moon. Yuan Kinga watched the coordinates on the display getting closer and closer, and she couldn't help but feel happy. She led a group of people to hurry, and finally arrived near the base on the 7th day. They would reach the entrance in more than 2 hours. It would be sunset by then, and they would open the entrance when the moon rises and return to the base of the 13th Military Region headquarters. So, your formation to protect the base is related to the moon. She looked over and saw Wen Jiu standing leisurely on the long sword. At first, she was surprised to see that he could fly with a sword, but later, she and her teammates got used to it slowly. After all, they have been with the demons since childhood, and their acceptance ability in all aspects is stronger. To be honest, I don't know much, She did not hide any information from the other party. I only know that under normal circumstances, the entrance to the base will only be opened when the moon is full. This is also the reason why Lance and Io asked them to arrive within 7 days. If they missed the full moon on the 7th day, they would have to wait for the next one. Hearing this, Wen Jiu smiled knowingly, so that's how it is. Although she was not strong in formations, she could still see some of the tricks. For example, the formation that hid Emperor Xiu Valley, she could not crack it, but could detect it. As soon as she finished speaking, she heard the half-demon Shenzing interrupted. I know a lot of defense formations related to the moon, but I don't know which one your base uses. The other party's lower body turned into smoke and slowly floated forward like a soul. It doesn't matter, the commander-in-chief will definitely know. Yuan King trusted Lan Xinyu very much, just ask her when the time comes. Hearing this, Shenzing just raised his eyebrows meaningfully and did not give any answer. Because he had asked Yuan King a few times before, he could hear that this formation had existed for a long time, at least protecting the headquarters base of the 13th military region for hundreds of years. So he didn't think that a human who had only lived for 30 years would know a formation that could conceal his tracks and have defensive capabilities. Such a formation could only be set up by a great demon or a master among humans. Lan Xinyu had at most learned some information from the senior, otherwise he wouldn't have sent someone with a token to look for DXIU. That's right, we'll know when the time comes. When Jiu saw that Yuan King was a little embarrassed, so he spoke at the right time to ease the atmosphere. By the way, Sister Kinga, since the entrance to the base is only opened once a month, wouldn't it be difficult for you to get supplies? After she finished speaking, the other party smiled and replied, yes, so our base has always been short of supplies, and most of the things can only be produced and used by ourselves. Then she learned from Yuan Kinga and others how they lived in the base. It was mainly because she had become familiar with the members of the T-07 team during this period, otherwise these members would not take the initiative to tell her about the things in the base. Of course, it was limited to daily life. If it involved confidential information, they would still remain silent. As for the formation, she and Shenzing were originally there to repair it, and Yuan Kinga didn't know the specific tricks, so telling them wouldn't have any impact. So in addition to training every day, you also have to do farm work like farming and raising pigs. Wen Jiu couldn't help but be a little surprised after hearing this. Isn't the 13th military region too down to earth? Get up early in the morning to water the fields and weed, then return to the training ground for daily training, have lunch and rest for a while and continue training, and then go to the farm to feed pigs and chickens after the training. Such a life is really colorful. Yes, we rarely drink nutrient solution, and we usually eat mainly. If we want to eat, we have to raise vegetables and pigs by ourselves. Yuan Kinga has been like this since she was a child, so she doesn't think there is any problem. Hearing this, Wen Jiu had doubts in her heart, but she didn't say it out. The 13th military region is really isolated from the world, and even the ingredients for eating need to be grown and raised by themselves. Although it sounds like there is no problem, they would rather do this than buy a lot of supplies. What is the reason? But it was useless for her to think more now. After all, she knew very little about the 13th military region, and many doubts could not be connected for the time being. So she gave up the idea of deep thinking, and just wanted to wait until she arrived at the destination. Because it would take some time to reach the entrance, she clicked on the light curtain panel, and wanted to take advantage of this free time to handle work. Ming, president of Wuiao Food. I found several kinds of tea with good taste and palatability, and now I have taken them to the R&D department of Wuiao Food for experiments. I will send you samples to taste them, and use your picky taste to help me make a choice. Ming, president of Wuiao Food. There is also a new food processing plant that is about to be built. It will be put into use in about 10 days. At that time, I will trouble you to promote it in Xingbo. Seeing this, Wen Jiu couldn't help but curse in his heart. This Ming Yahan is really obsessed with money. There are still so many orders for pre-sale products, and he is still thinking about asking her to promote more to increase the sales of some products. But from another perspective, this is also a good thing. After all, Ming Yahan dared to ask her to advertise more, which means that the production of Wuiao food has been increased. Once the production of Wuiao food increases, the sales volume will also increase. The star coins flowing into her pocket will naturally increase. Therefore, she replied with a smile, promising that she would promote more. As for tea, she actually wanted to use the tea grown by the Jade Rabbit clan. Unfortunately, the tea garden of the Jade Rabbit clan is looked after by the 4 elders, so it is still unknown whether she can get the tea, so Ming Yahan can only ask to find other tea first. Then she contacted Tao Xiaotao and asked about Tao Yao's situation. Although Tao Xiaotao cannot use the wisdom ring like humans, the other party's intelligence system is connected to the star network, so there is no problem in using the star network to contact Tao Xiaotao. Reply to the boss. Tao Yao's offline store business is still hot. Miss Tao and I are busy every day. 369 new members added today. Among them, 185 are junior members. Wen Jiu looked at the various data sent by Tao Xiaotao, and for a moment she couldn't hide the joy on her face. Seeing this, Shenzing said sarcastically, "What? Is money falling from the sky? It makes you laugh like this." Almost, she immediately made a face to scare the other party. "It's not just money falling from the sky, but money flowing into my pocket. Anyway, everyone knows that she is here to do business, and she won't attract other people's attention by saying this." I forgot to mention that these days, not only she was testing the T07 team, but the members of the T07 team also came to her one by one to get her words. So she revealed some unimportant information to relax these highly vigilant soldiers. Report. The first update of today has been successfully delivered. Thank you little angels for your support and love. Open bracket close bracket. Chapter 982 Arrival at the 13th Military Region Base 2. On the other side, Lan Zinyu led everyone to the entrance of the base. It was her second time to stand here to receive people. She was trained as a pre-selected successor since she was a child, so she didn't have to do everything like others. She could count the number of farm work such as farming, feeding pigs and raising chickens on one hand. Thinking back to the last time she stood at the entrance to receive people, it was when she waited for the former commander-in-chief to return from a victorious battle. Commander Lan, Yuan Kinger of the T07 team is expected to arrive at the entrance in 13 minutes. We can prepare for the ceremony to open the entrance now. Hearing this, she first glanced at the stone tablet standing at the entrance. The densely packed broken marks on it were intertwined like a spider web, as if she would turn it into powder in an instant if she touched it lightly. She still remembered what the former commander-in-chief said before his death, that once the stone tablet was completely broken, the moon shadow formation would be invalid, and she must take everyone to transfer before that, or find DXIU to repair the moon shadow formation. It seems that transfer is unlikely at the moment, and DXIU will not be found for a while. Fortunately, there is always light at the end of the tunnel. Yuan King found another demon tribe, saying that it is possible to repair the moon shadow formation. Because no one wants to leave here, no matter what those stubborn people say, she will let the demon tribe try. After all, it is better to have hope than to give up completely. Then let's set it up and prepare for the opening ceremony. Lan Zinyu changed her previous unruly look after she finished speaking. She took out a piece of transparent crystal from the wisdom ring space and held it tightly in her palm. Seeing this, the crowd that originally came to watch immediately dispersed, leaving only a few people who presided over the ceremony. She looked up at the red and purple sky, waiting for the last golden light to disappear. The people in charge of the opening ceremony waved the bone hammers in their hands and hit the drums made of cowhide, making muffled sounds one after another. As the drums became louder and louder and the rhythm was also accelerating, they recited complicated and obscure spells. Lan Zinyu focused her attention and placed the crystal on the high platform in front of her at the moment when the sun completely set. When the bright moon rose, the first beam of moonlight fell. The cold moonlight hit the crystal, and instantly it emitted a faint blue light. Seeing this, she immediately stepped back a few steps to the edge to make room for those who were still chanting spells. They kept beating the cowhide drums, and the sound was louder than before, as if thunder had fallen from the sky. In just a few seconds, a blue light suddenly broke through the night sky and hit the crystal directly. Before she could see clearly, the light on the crystal suddenly increased, making it impossible to see directly with the naked eye, which made her close her eyes involuntarily. When vision is affected, hearing will be particularly sensitive. Lan Xiao suddenly heard a pleasant female voice that seemed to be there and not there, ethereal and near, like a stream in the mountains, calming her originally impetuous mood. This voice can only be heard by the person who puts down the crystal each time, so those who are watching and those who are still beating the drums don't know that she will hear this female voice when she opens the formation. At first, she was very surprised, but later she got used to it over time. Although the 13th military region has been trying to isolate themselves from the world, they are still not completely self-sufficient. Therefore, the entrance must be opened once a month to allow people to go out to other planets to buy supplies, and then wait until the next month to bring supplies back. It is precisely because of this that she got used to this ethereal female voice. And the weirdest thing is that every time she wants to tell others about this, she will be restricted by some mysterious power. Whether she wants to speak or write, she can't do it. But it doesn't matter, she didn't encounter any other strange things, so she didn't care much about it. The moonlight is hazy, there is nowhere to hide. Moon, please be more visible, please illuminate the smiles on our faces. Lan Xiao closed her eyes tightly, listening to the people who presided over the ceremony chanting loudly, and the mysterious female voice was also gently echoing. She had started this ritual several times, so she was very familiar with the words to be chanted. But just as the chanting was about to end, she suddenly heard the female voice become louder, and more importantly, clearer than before, as if someone was talking in her ear. Moon, please be more visible, and take me away from this noisy world. Moon, please shed more light, so that I, who have no place to cry, can hide. To be honest, Lan Xiao was a little flustered at first, but the female voice quickly calmed her down. But she didn't calm down for long, before she was shocked by the next sentence. Because this was not the original chanting at all, she was shocked, and her eyes widened instantly. It happened that the opening ceremony ended at this time, and the dazzling light became softer. The halo of the crystal was projected onto the stone tablet, and then the scene there became blurred. In the blink of an eye, a large door shaped like a circle appeared. Seeing this, the warriors who followed immediately walked over quickly and guarded this entrance to the outside world according to the rules. The next second, a slender figure came in. T-07 Team Yuan Kinga has arrived at the headquarters base safely. After the other party's voice fell, one of the guards walked out and began to check the identity token to verify the identity. Commander-in-Chief Lan, the members of the T-07 team are back. Lan Xiao's thoughts were originally wandering outside, and she was suddenly called back by the adjutant's words. She quickly shook her head to wake up, and then looked at the group of people who came in from the entrance. She naturally recognized Yuan Kinga. The other party's brother was a very good soldier, so she had met him several times. Report to the Commander-in-Chief. I have successfully completed the mission. After Yuan Kinga's identity was verified, she hurried over. Seeing this, she just smiled slightly. It's good to come back safely. Where are the two guests you mentioned? Did they come back with me? As soon as she finished her voice, the other party pointed to a place not far away and said, report to the Commander-in-Chief. Miss Ling and Mr. Shen have arrived. She looked in the direction Yuan Kinga pointed, and sure enough, she saw two strangers. The young man was wearing a black robe, which seemed to be the traditional costume of ancient China, and also the favorite clothing of the demons. His brow bones were prominent and his eyes were slightly upturned, which gave him a kind of charming yet cold beauty. His light-colored eyes were as calm as the water in a deep pool, making it difficult for people to see through him. As if he noticed her gaze, the man looked at her with a cold face. So she silently turned her eyes away and looked at the girl standing beside her. Today's second update has been delivered to the Little Angels. Please check it out. Little Angels CAC. Whisper, there is a power outage again. The little author had just sent out the supplementary update in the afternoon when the power went out. It is now 11 o'clock in the evening and there is still no power. The little author is so hot that he is about to faint at. The mobile phone still has 27% of power. I hope it can last until I finish writing the third update QWQ. Chapter 983 Arrival at the 13th Military Region Base 3. The girl's beautiful face was filled with a smile, and her cold, white skin was lightly pink, like a white rose blooming. Her grey blue eyes were filled with water, and it was hard to look away from her every frown and smile. Her platinum gold hair was tied behind her head, and it swayed when she spoke, attracting attention. However, these were not as good as her pointed ears, which seemed to be as strange as those of a half-demonized demon, but more agile than those demons. Commander-in-Chief. That's Miss Leng. She seems to be quite powerful. She can also fly with a sword. Lan Zinayu was observing carefully when she heard Yuan King's voice. Flying with a sword? She raised her eyebrows in surprise. Does it mean standing on a sword and flying around? Yes. The other party answered her decisively. Me and the members of the T-07 team saw it. When she heard this, she became more curious about the girl. Could it be that she was a genius hidden here? However, she had only established the image of a tall girl in her mind for a few seconds when she heard Yuan King say that the girl was here to do business. Well, the hidden genius turned into a money-loving businessman. This is really hard to evaluate. Why does she keep looking at you? Shenzing frowned a little unhappy. Am I not as good looking as you? Why doesn't she look at me? Hearing this, Wen Jiu replied helplessly, how should I know? Why don't you go and ask? She paused for a moment before continuing, of course, I'm indeed a little better looking than you, so the young lady naturally cares more about me. After she finished speaking, she saw veins appear on Shenzing's forehead. Well, she was angry with her. You are so shameless that it makes me angry. The other party resisted the urge to hit him on the spot. I think anyone with eyes and good vision knows who is better looking between us. Hearing this, she shrugged nonchalantly. Really? Then let's make a bet. What bet? Shenzing half squinted his eyes and looked at her. See if the commander-in-chief will talk to you first or me first. She smiled and set a trap. If he talks to me first, then you have to agree to one of my conditions. As soon as she finished speaking, the other party sneered. Childish. Don't talk childishly, just say whether you want to bet or not. She has also figured out Shenzing's temper these days. He is indeed fickle and gets angry at any time. But in general, Shenzing is still very easy to coax, as long as you understand his psychological activities. Hearing this, Shenzing was silent for a few seconds before whispering, bet. If you come to me first, you have to agree to one of my conditions. Wen Jiu knew Shenzing had been tricked when he heard this, but the other party was as cunning and smart as a fox, and would definitely add a few more words. Facts proved that she was right. Shenzing said the next second, of course, I can't agree to all conditions, so the conditions you put forward must be within my ability, and cannot violate the moral bottom line and my conscience. The other party's voice had just fallen, and she had no time to answer when she saw Yuan King coming with a tall and capable woman. Seeing this, she winked at Shenzing, telling him that the bet between them had begun. The woman had a beautiful face and sharp eyes, and her slightly raised mouth corners were hung with an unruly color. It was obvious that she was not easy to mess with. Hello, Miss Leng. Lan Zinayu chose to talk to Wen Jiu, who seemed to be easier to get along with. I'm Lan Zinayu, the commander-in-chief of the 13th Military District. Hearing this, Wen Jiu immediately smiled and said, hello, Commander Lan. My last name is Leng and my given name is Qi. Just call me Leng Qi. She would not tell the people of the 13th Military District the important real information for the time being. She didn't want to get into trouble or be dragged into muddy water for no reason. She came to the 13th Military District just to get some information. After all, Ming Yehun was already preparing the procedures for buying the planet, so she had to find out about this group of people who suddenly appeared. In order to prevent these people from causing trouble in the future and implicate her, the Quasi-Star Master. Okay, then can I call you Kiki? Lan Zinayu smiled and said a few polite words. Seeing that Wen Jiu did not express dissatisfaction and that he was indeed easy to get along with, she chose to lay things out. I don't like to do those nonsense things, she said while walking to the stone tablet with Wen Jiu and others, so I will just say it directly. Of course, you can also say whatever you think, don't try to beat around the bush with me. She kept talking to herself and saw that the man's face became more and more gloomy. Seeing this, she thought that she was scared by her direct words. "It's okay, Sister Lan. Please continue talking." Wen Jiu seemed to have noticed her concerns. "The person next to me is Lord Shen. He has always been like this. You don't need to worry about it." When she heard this, she temporarily put her mind at ease. "So it's Lord Shen. King mentioned to me before that Lord Shen can repair the formation. I don't know if this is true or not." She has always been straightforward in her words, and just when Wen Jiu introduced this Lord Shen, she pointed out the matter of repairing the formation. "Whether it is true or not, you will know if you try it. Why ask so many questions?" Shenzing is also a person who speaks without mercy. Of course, the main reason why he was so angry now was because he lost the bet. This stone tablet should be the center of the formation, but he was angry, but he would still solve the problem properly. It is already full of cracks. It seems that the formation will fail in 3 months at most. Hearing this, Lan Xiao couldn't help but exclaimed in surprise, 3 months. But the high priest said it can last for half a year. This moonstone is broken and can't be broken anymore. You actually think it can last for half a year? He glanced at the other party speechlessly. "If you don't believe it, I can't help it. This formation is very similar to the formation he set up in the Emperor Xiu Valley, so he saw the problem at a glance. However, he can be sure that this formation is definitely not from his hand, and he can also confirm that the person who set up the formation is imitating his formation. It's a pity that the other party didn't learn the essence of it." After he finished speaking, a trace of worry flashed across Lan Xiao's eyes. "Lord Shen, do you have a way to repair this formation?" The other party looked up at him expectantly. However, before he could answer, he heard a loud shout. "Commander-in-Chief Lan, you actually let outsiders into the headquarters base. Are you doing this to the old commander who left?" "Ah. The third update is up. Cack. My phone ran out of battery while I was writing yesterday, and there was no call in the middle of the night. I had to wait until noon today for it to call me. I really burst into tears. Tat. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 984 Yuan Brothers and Sisters 1. Wen Jiu looked in the direction where the voice came from and saw a middle-aged man with a stern face walking towards them, and he frowned and seemed very dissatisfied. It was a pity that the scene, that should have been daunting, was made more funny by the man's limping movements. "Who is that?" Shenzing suddenly switched to a half-demon and floated to her side. Hearing this, she curled her lips speechlessly. "You ask me, who should I ask? I'm not from the 13th military region." Just as she was arguing with the other party in a low voice, Lan Xiao suddenly walked forward with his arms folded, directly blocking their sight. "Colonel Bei, don't you see that I'm dealing with important matters? Please leave your words for later." The other party blocked her in front, so she couldn't see his expression clearly. But she could also hear from Lan Xiao's tone that the other party seemed to dislike the man who staggered. TSK, is this the beginning of a big show? If she had known, she would have brought some sunflower seeds with her, so that she could eat sunflower seeds while watching the show. "Important? You have violated the most important regulations of the 13th military region." Colonel Bei was so angry that his voice was shaking. "According to the regulations, you should be expelled from the army and leave the base." After saying that, Lan Xiao smiled disapprovingly. "It is true that I brought outsiders into the headquarters base, but I did so to repair the formation. But you, Colonel Bei, tried to stop me in every way, as if you were afraid that the formation would be repaired. Could it be that you have ulterior motives?" When she said this, she deliberately prolonged her tone, and Colonel Bei's face turned pale and blue. "Lan Xiao, stop spitting blood here. It just so happens that the high priest is out today. I want to ask her to judge." The other party was panting heavily, as if he was about to faint. Hearing this, she first leaned close to Yuan King's ear and whispered a few words. "Kinga, take Miss Ling and Lord Shen to your home first. You must be tired after traveling all day, so have a good rest tonight. I will come to see you tomorrow." After the other party nodded in agreement, she looked at Colonel Bay and continued, "You want to ask the High Priest for justice, right? Let's go. If you have the guts, don't be a coward. Don't slip away as soon as you reach the door like last time and make an excuse that you forgot to turn off the stove for the soup at home. Don't you feel ashamed to say such things?" She never knew what it meant to hold back her words. Since Colonel Bay dared to embarrass her in front of outsiders, don't blame her for speaking bluntly to undermine him. After hearing this, Yuan Kinga didn't even dare to look at Colonel Bay's expression. She hurriedly walked to Wen Jiu and said, "Miss Leng, Lord Shen, please follow me. Commander Lan has something to deal with now. I will take you to have a good rest first, and we will discuss the matter of repairing the formation in detail tomorrow." Hearing this, Wen Jiu smiled and nodded in agreement. In fact, she really wanted to stay and watch the show, but it was a pity that Lan Zhenio deliberately wanted to send her away. To be honest, the other party's personality was quite to her liking, making her willing to stay here for a few more days. So when Yuan Kinga said she would take her to rest, she did not show any dissatisfaction. But Shenzing frowned after hearing this, as if he didn't want to waste more time here. "Since you're here, it won't hurt to stay for 2 more days." She pulled the other person's sleeve and whispered a few words. "Just think of it as a trip, and you can also see the life of humans." After saying that, Shenzing just sneered. "What's there to see about human life? It's not much different from the life of the demon race." "Then you're wrong. It's limited to the humans here," she whispered as she walked behind Yuan Kinga. "If you are willing to go to other planets, you will know how big the difference between the lives of humans and demons is." After hearing her words, the other party did not answer, but just floated forward while lowering his head in thought. Seeing this, she quickened her pace and caught up with Yuan Kinga in front. She still had a lot of questions to answer and wondered if Yuan Kinga could help. "Sister Kinga, I just heard Commander Lan say something about the High Priest. Do you still retain the custom of sacrifice here?" Yuan Kinga was sending a message to her brother. When she heard Wen Jiu ask such a question, she put the communicator in her pocket. "That's not the reason," she answered after organizing her words a little. "The High Priest is mainly responsible for presiding over the ceremony, which is the ceremony of opening the entrance every time. This title is said to have been named by the earliest commander-in-chief of our military region, and then passed down from generation to generation, and everyone got used to calling him that. Because the High Priest is generally a respected elder in the military region, the power of the High Priest is equivalent to that of the Commander-in-Chief. It's just that under normal circumstances the High Priest will not interfere in the affairs of the military region, unless someone wants to report the Commander-in-Chief, or thinks that the Commander-in-Chief is wrong. The High Priest will appear as an equal power holder to uphold justice." She guessed that Wen Jiu wanted to ask what had just happened, so she explained the position of the High Priest and the circumstances under which the High Priest would appear. "So that's how it is." The other party scratched his head in sudden realization. Will Commander Lan be in trouble? Hearing this, she thought for a while before answering. No, the person who came to make trouble just now was Colonel Bay, and he has been at odds with Commander Lan for a long time. Although Colonel Bay always yelled to ask the High Priest to come out, in fact, he was suppressed by Commander Lan every time. Anyway, everyone in the military region knew that Colonel Bay and Lan Zhenio were at odds, and they also knew that every time they quarreled fiercely, they would talk about the High Priest, so there was nothing to hide about this. She wanted to say a few more words, but suddenly heard Shenzing ask, "How long will it take to get to your house?" "Ah, I forgot to use the little blue car." She slapped her forehead, as if she had suddenly realized something, and then found the little blue car from the wisdom ring space. Before, when they were waiting for the entrance to open, Wen Jiu took the initiative to ask to return the wisdom ring, so she was able to get her wisdom ring back. Seeing this, Wen Jiu raised his eyebrows curiously. "Little blue car? Is it your means of transportation?" She looked at the car in front of her, that looked like a small electric donkey, and couldn't help but have the urge to take out her mobile phone to scan the code to use the car. It seems that the 13th military region has been secluded from the world for a long time, and it doesn't even have such a thing as a hovercraft. Right. Do you want to come up and try it? Yuan Kinga sat on it first and put on the helmet and then threw another helmet to her. She turned her head to look at the equally confused Mirage Zing, then put on the helmet with a smile and got on the back seat. Bai just flowed slowly like a ghost. Sure enough, people should never be careless at any time. She never thought that a small electric donkey could have such a fast speed. She seemed to be riding a roller coaster, as if she would fly into the sky in the next second. The first update of the day was successfully delivered. The good news is that the little author did not have a power outage today, so all 3 updates can be delivered on time. Equals 3 equals. Chapter 985 UN Brothers and Sisters 2. My driving skills are pretty good, right? Yuan Kinga took off her helmet happily. I passed the driver's license test in 1 try. Hearing this, Wen Jiu pinched his brows and replied, haha. Ha. Not bad. Very good. She tried her best to endure the discomfort and praised Yuan Kinga a few words. In fact, she almost fainted. She really didn't know how this small electric scooter could have such a fast speed. If she hadn't worn a helmet, I'm afraid she would have been flattered silly. Really? Really? The other party was still chattering. You are the first one to praise my driving skills. Others who ride in my car either scream continuously or squat on the ground and vomit endlessly after getting off the car. It seems that my idea is not wrong. Those people are really too weak. Miss Leng, if you like this feeling, I will drive you for a ride when I'm free so that you can experience it more. How about it? Wen Jiu wanted to faint when he heard this. What sin did she commit to endure such pain? This strange little blue car, coupled with Yuan Kinga's driving skills, is simply a death warrant. She could experience it once, but she couldn't do it again. In fact, she had ridden the roller coaster several times when she went to Lakeland with Kao Shishi and others, but the problem was that she only felt very happy and didn't feel uncomfortable at that time. And she had ridden Uruman's hover motorcycle before, and the speed was comparable to lightning, which was much faster than this strange little blue car. However, the combination of the little blue car and Yuan Kinga was so magical. If she had known earlier, she would have let the blessing of riding the car to enjoy it with Mirage Zing. Just when she was secretly regretting, she suddenly saw a man walking over with a cane. Kinga? Are you back? As soon as the other party's voice fell, Yuan Kinga ran over excitedly. Seeing this, Wen Jiu understood instantly. She had heard the members of the T07 team mention Yuan Kinga's brother several times on the road before, and now it seems that this pale young man should be the other party's brother. They are indeed siblings. Those watery eyes like deers are, as if copied and pasted, and the corners of their lips are slightly raised, as if they are smiling even without making any expression. Brother, why hasn't your leg injury healed yet? Yuan Kinga's first reaction was to care about her brother. Didn't Uncle Song say that there was some ointment in the warehouse? Why didn't he take it out for you? Hearing this, Yuan Zhen just smiled indifferently. My injury can be healed by applying some herbal medicine and drinking some medicine, but it will take a little longer. You also know that supplies in the military region have always been in short supply, especially this kind of medical supplies are even scarcer. Then you can't just use herbal medicine to perfunctorily deal with it. She got so angry when she heard this. You were injured to protect everyone. Why shouldn't I treat you with ointment? However, the other party still maintained a faint smile without any dissatisfaction or resentment. Kinga, don't blame Uncle Song and the others. I asked to use herbal medicine myself. My leg injury is not particularly serious, so there is really no need to use scarce ointment. Didn't you often ask me to accompany you to the movies before? It just so happens that I can spend more time with you while I'm recuperating. After hearing this, she didn't feel happy. Instead, she felt even angrier and more depressed. She knew that Yuan Zhen had always had a good temper and had never had an argument with the people in the military district. He was always smiling and kind. But she was just unhappy. Why did her brother have to apply herbal medicine or even boil medicine to drink when his leg was injured, while some people's brothers could be treated with ointment just because they were stung by bees? Seeing that Yuan Kinga had been looking bitter, Yuan Zhen smiled and shook his head and said softly, okay, let's not talk about this for now. I see you brought 2 friends back. Why don't you introduce them to me? After the words fell, the other party remembered the two guests who were left aside. Yuan Kinga ran forward a few steps, then remembered that he was still leaning on a cane, so she turned around and ran back to support him silently. This made him laugh, and his mood improved a lot. Oh, it seems that the experience of riding in the car is not very good. Shenzing just arrived here a minute ago, and he saw Wen Jiu with a pale face as soon as he came. Although the other party was feeling very uncomfortable at the moment, he still retorted to him, "Haha, it's the same feeling as when you carried me flying in the sky. TSK, you still have the energy to say unpleasant words. It seems that you are fine." He really couldn't help but chuckle. "Why don't those two humans come over? Do you want us to take the initiative to talk to them?" Wen Jiu rolled his eyes at him. "Can you humble yourself and talk to them?" Before Shenzing could say the words "of course not," he saw Yuan Kinga and the strange man walking over. The man's right leg was slightly lifted off the ground, and he was still leaning on a crutch, so he couldn't help but lean over to Wen Jiu's ear and whispered, "Why are all the people here injured? The one just now also came lame. Is there any curse here? This demon clan master, please put away your random guesses." The other party looked at him with disdain. "Aren't you a great demon who has lived for thousands of years? If there is really a curse, can't you see it?" After saying that, he spread his hands disapprovingly, and this action was still his imitation of Wen Jiu. "I'm only good at formations and creating illusions, and I don't know much about casting curses. So if there is really a curse here, I may not be able to detect it." Just as the two were discussing in a low voice, Yuan Kinga took the man forward and greeted them very friendly. However, because Yuan Zhen had a leg injury and it was really inconvenient for him to stand for a long time, they chose to go into the house and sit down to chat after a few polite words. The Yuan brothers and sisters lived in a small single family house with 2 floors and a yard for growing vegetables. After Yuan Kinga helped Yuan Zhen sit on the sofa, she hurried into the kitchen to make tea and prepare snacks. And the Mirage Star River disappeared again as smoke, and no one knew where it wanted to go to investigate. Therefore, only Wen Jiu and Yuan Zhen were left in the living room. "I wonder what business Miss Leng wants to do here?" Yuan Zhen's mouth corners slightly raised, and there was a smile in his eyes, as if he was showing friendliness. Seeing this, Wen Jiu smiled back. "Do some wrestling business of vegetables and fruits. It's not easy to make star coins these days. Only this business can be considered to be profitable." As soon as she finished speaking, the other party seemed to speak unintentionally. "Miss Leng is so young, and she can go out alone to do business. This really makes me ashamed." When she heard this, she understood that Yuan Zhen was testing how many people she brought with her. So she smiled and looked at him. "To be honest, I also have a brother. He came with me. Today's second update has also been successfully delivered. Thank you little angels for your support and love. 030. Chapter 986 Yuan Brothers and Sisters 3. Wen Jiu thought that there was nothing to hide about her bringing Chu Jian here, and it was easier for people to believe her if she spoke half truthfully. Therefore, she did not hide this matter and took the initiative to chat with Yuan Zhen. "I see, I didn't expect your parents to pass away so early," the other party said, and then became sad. "I guess you and your brother must have had a hard time, right? No wonder you have to start a business at such a young age." Seeing this, she suppressed her embarrassment and forced a smile. "It's not really hard. As long as you work hard, you can always live a good life." She just said that her parents had passed away, but she didn't expect Yuan Zhen's thoughts to diverge, and she actually began to comfort her and even empathize with her. Could it be that she really thought too much this time? Is Yuan Zhen really a kind person? She has been getting along with Yuan Kinga these days, and she can see that she is really simple-minded, just a cute girl who speaks her mind. You have to know that a person's personality has a lot to do with the family environment. Yuan Zhen, who can cultivate a cheerful personality like Yuan Kinga, should be a gentle and easygoing person. But her intuition told her that the other party was not that simple. Just when Wen Jiu lowered his eyes to think, he heard Yuan Zhen whispered again, "Miss Leng, do you think the formation of our base can be saved?" When she heard this, she couldn't help but be stunned for a moment. Why did the other party suddenly ask such a question? But she still pretended to be calm. You have to ask Lord Shen this question. I'm just an assistant. As long as she kicked the ball fast enough, she wouldn't be stumped by the problem. Anyway, Shenzing is not here now, and she won't be disturbed by others if she passes the ball. Hearing this, Yuan Zhen just lowered his eyes, covering up the fleeting sorrow. I'm abrupt. Then I will ask Lord Shen for advice later. After the other party said this, the atmosphere became cold again. Fortunately, Yuan Kinga came out with a teapot at this time. Come on, Miss Leng, try this tea. My brother and I made it together. The other party poured a cup of hot tea and handed it to her. After a few polite words, she took a sip. The light yellow tea soup was extremely clear without any foam, and the fragrance of tea leaves rose and spread with the heat. I have to say that this is indeed a good tea. Brother Zehan, I just heard from Sister Kinga that this tea is made by you? Wen Jiu pretended to be playful and raised the ending tone when he said the last sentence, which was considered to establish his lively personality. Hearing this, Yuan Zhen couldn't help but pursed his lips and smiled. Yes, because we can't leave the base most of the time, so almost everything we eat and use is made by ourselves. For example, the clothes I wear are embroidered by Kinga herself. He raised his hand and shook it while he was talking, showing the exquisite embroidery pattern on the sleeve. Seeing this, Wen Jiu silently made calculations in his heart. She could even convince the isolated Jade Rabbit clan who were prejudiced against humans. So would it be possible for her to make a deal with the people of the 13th military district? Look at the fragrant tea leaves and the exquisite embroidery, each of which exudes the aura of star coins. However, she quickly gave up the idea. After all, she didn't even know what the 13th military district was like. If it was a big problem, she would have to take an interstellar spaceship overnight, so she would not have the energy to talk business with these people. It's better to be safe when earning star coins. If you lose your life, it's useless to earn more. Then Yuan Zhen talked to her for a while, and Yuan Kinga came to send her a lot of snacks. But she kept answering with mixed truth and falsehood, and she kicked many questions to Mirage Xing, who was unknown at the moment. I don't know if Yuan Zhen felt that he couldn't get any words out of her and didn't want to pay attention to her. The other party said that he was sleepy and wanted to rest, and then left the living room with a cane. Afterwards, Yuan Kinga took her to the second floor to find her room. She enthusiastically brought a lot of things, fearing that she would not live well here. Sister Kinga, I really trouble you too much. I can do the rest myself. You can go and do your thing first. Wen Jiu took the quilt cover that Yuan Kinga brought and waved her hand to indicate that she could do such a small thing. The other party couldn't persuade her, so she smiled and closed the door and left. Seeing this, she breathed a sigh of relief. Although she knew that Yuan Kinga was enthusiastic and cheerful, there was no need for her to help her with such a small thing as making the bed. Moreover, Yuan Kinga also brought various toiletries, as if she had forgotten that she didn't need them at all because of her wisdom ring. It can be said that the other party's enthusiasm is comparable to that of her neighbor, Sister Chen. However, what Wen Jiu didn't know was that after Yuan Kinga walked out of this door, she quickly ran downstairs and entered Yuan Zhen's room. Brother, why did you keep asking Miss Leng questions? Hearing this, Yuan Zhen smiled helplessly. Sometimes you still have to be more careful, otherwise you will be sold out in the future. Because he doted on this sister the most, he cultivated her simple and kind nature. In the past, he always thought that it was okay to be simple, but after he met the girl today, he suddenly felt that Yuan Kinga should grow up and could not be as straightforward as before. How could I not be more careful? You don't know how many questions I ask Miss Leng on the way. The other party raised her chin complacently. Do you want me to tell you the information I know? Seeing Yuan Kinga like this, he couldn't help laughing and said, no, it's getting late now. You should go back to your room to rest first. It's very hard to be on a mission outside, and you must relax when you come back. After speaking, the other party left his room. But the moment the door closed, the gentleness on his face disappeared. He quickly opened the light screen panel and clicked on the option to talk to someone. After just a few seconds, a gentle female voice sounded. How is it? What did you find? Hearing this, Yuan Zhen changed his previous gentle tone and replaced it with a business-like indifference. Not yet. This Lenky is very cunning. What she said is half true and half false, and most of the questions she avoided by playing take eye or passing the buck. As soon as he finished speaking, Lan Xiaoyu smiled and said, at such a young age, she dared to venture out alone and get involved with those monsters. Naturally, she is not a simple person. In short, you should find a way to get some more information and do it without leaving any traces so as not to be noticed. Yes, I will find another opportunity to communicate with her. He paused for a moment before continuing. That Lord Shen disappeared as soon as he came back, and I have to ask you to ask the patrolling soldiers to pay attention. Before he could wait for the other party to answer, he suddenly heard a knock on the door. The next second, Wen Jiu's voice sounded outside. Source: today's third update has also been delivered on time. So touching. Finally on time, CAC. Chapter 987. I'm here to deliver medicine 1. Brother Zehan, I'm here to give you something. Hearing this, Yuan Zehan was stunned for a moment. But he quickly came back to his senses and smiled warmly, saying, Miss Leng, you don't have to be so polite. Besides, Kinga and I don't lack things. He tried his best to maintain his elegant and easygoing personality, so as not to arouse the suspicion of the girl in front of him. But he was worried that Yuan Kinga was not very thoughtful, and would be deceived by this kind of active show of goodwill, so he added a sentence to remind her. However, after he finished speaking, Wen Jiu did not mean to leave, but took out a paper box. This is a plaster for treating bruises and injuries. It is a secret recipe passed down from my ancestors. The other party opened the paper box and saw that there were indeed several plasters inside and a small porcelain bottle of unknown use. Seeing this, Yuan Zehan's smile was a little stiff for a while, because Wen Jiu's gift was so appropriate that it was difficult for him and Yuan Kinga to refuse. After all, his leg injury has not healed yet, and it would be very strange to refuse. Even if he rejected Wen Jiu's kindness to avoid suspicion, the other party could still take this gift to find Yuan Kinga. He believed that his simple, straightforward, and devoted sister would definitely not refuse this gift that could heal his leg injury. Just as he was thinking deeply about how to deal with this matter, he suddenly heard footsteps coming downstairs. But after a few seconds, Yuan Kinga's voice rang out. Miss Leng, I thought you were asleep, but I didn't expect you to be here. Hey, brother, why didn't you rest? Before he could answer, Wen Jiu took the lead and said, Sister Kinga, what a coincidence. I was just planning to find you. I saw that brother Zehan had a leg injury, so I thought that my family has a very useful plaster that is specially used to treat this kind of bruises and injuries. The effect is simply invincible. As soon as the other party finished speaking, a hint of joy appeared in Yuan Kinga's eyes. When he saw this scene, his heart sank instantly. Sure enough, his silly sister was still tricked. But to his surprise, Yuan Kinga quickly regained her composure and began to ask Wen Jiu how the plaster was made and what herbs were used. He really didn't expect that after Yuan Kinga went out and ventured, she would transform from the naive person she used to be to what she is now. She knew to ask more questions and think more about everything and no longer trust others easily. It seems that what Lan Xiaoyu said at the beginning was not wrong. Children who have been protected all the time will not grow up. In fact, there is nothing that cannot be revealed. Most of the herbs used are very common. Wen Jiu had expected such a question a long time ago, so she just smiled and said it. For example, safflower, panax nata ginseng, peach kernel, iron holly, foxtail flower. These are all very common herbs, but the specific proportion is not convenient to disclose. After all, this formula is my family's ancestral heirloom. After she finished speaking, she picked up the small porcelain bottle in the box, handed it to Yuan Kinga, and continued to introduce it. This is an ointment that can speed up healing. It is also prepared by me. The effect is quite good. However, I researched this formula. If you are worried, you don't have to use it. After she finished speaking, she silently observed Yuan Kinga's expression. After all, compared with people like Yuan Zehan who don't know the depth of the matter, people like him who are straightforward are easier to deceive. No, it is easier to convince. How can this be considered a lie? The plasters and ointments she took out are all genuine. She didn't use counterfeit and shoddy products to deceive the Yuan brothers and sisters. Hearing this, Yuan Kinga thought seriously for a long time before she smiled and replied, "Miss Leng is joking. I naturally know what kind of person you are, but the person who needs the medicine is my brother after all, so I must ask clearly before I can feel at ease." As she spoke, she took the small porcelain bottle handed over by Wen Jiu, and also took the paper box that the other party was holding. Regardless of whether the plasters and ointments are really effective, she is very grateful for Wen Jiu's kindness. You know, what she is most worried about right now is Yuan Zehen's leg injury. She is thinking about whether to ask Lan Zinayu for some ointment tomorrow. She never expected that Wen Jiu would lend a hand at this time. "It's okay, I can understand, because I have a brother too." Wen Jiu continued the topic calmly, "But my brother is different from your brother. He likes to challenge people and monsters, so it is common for him to suffer some skin injuries. This also led to me self-studying medical theory and pharmacology since I was a child. I was afraid that he would die one day while fighting. For example, ointments like this for treating bruises and injuries, and ointments that accelerate wound healing, are always available in my wisdom ring space." As she spoke, she also worked hard to show her acting skills, pretending to be really worried about her brother. As soon as she finished her words, Yuan Zehen asked a lot of questions like gaddling. "I wonder what Miss Leng's brother's name is? Why didn't he come with you? And how could your brother feel at ease letting you go to a strange place alone at such a young age? Isn't he afraid that you will encounter danger on the way, or won't be able to come back?" Hearing this, Wen Jiu quickly organized her words. It seems that her previous intuition was not wrong. Yuan Zehen is indeed not easy to deal with. But it doesn't matter. Life is like a play and it all depends on acting skills. She has never lost to anyone in terms of acting skills, and there are many acting masters around her who can bring her acting inspiration. So she first recalled the way Ziqing missed Ziziu, and then imitated the expression of missing her, but unwilling to admit it. "My brother's surname is naturally Leng, and he has a single name of 3 characters like me," she said as she imitated what she had prepared. "My brother naturally wanted to come here with me, but unfortunately Commander Lan only allowed me to come here alone. So my brother stayed in the demon clan's territory and waited. Of course, the reason why he was relieved that I came to this place was mainly because he was familiar with Lord Shen, and he believed that Lord Shen would protect me." After saying that, Yuan Zehen immediately asked another question. "Sorry, Miss Leng, I'm abrupt. I'm just very curious that at your age, you dare to come out alone and associate with the mysterious demon clan. I wonder if Miss Leng can tell me how you gained the trust of the demon clan?" To be honest, Wen Jiu wanted to hit someone after hearing this. Why did Yuan Zehen have so many questions? How much did the other party worry about her? If she was not here to give the gift, she would not bother to talk nonsense with Yuan Zehen here. But there were too many questions, making her extremely irritated, and she wanted to punch the other party. Just when she was thinking whether it would be better to punch him or continue to fight with Yuan Zehen as a ninja, a white smoke suddenly floated in from the window, followed by a very familiar voice. "How did she gain the trust of the demon tribe? What does it have to do with you? You are just curious all day long, right? Today's first update has been successfully delivered. Thank you little angels for your support. 030. Chapter 988. I'm here to deliver medicine too." After hearing what Shenzing said, Wen Jiu couldn't help but pursed his lips and tried to hold back his laughter. "Thank you Shenzing, she is such a good mouth." The smoke condensed into a human shape in an instant, and the angular and stern face made it difficult to look away. After all, Shenzing is a powerful monster that has survived for 1,000 years. It is difficult for ordinary people to resist when he shows off his power. As expected, Yuan Zehen and Yuan Kinga were stunned in an instant. They didn't expect Shenzing to appear suddenly, let alone speak so bluntly. What surprised the two most was that Shenzing, who seemed to be easy to get along with before, suddenly became oppressive and intimidating. So Yuan Zehen subconsciously stepped forward with his crutches and stood in front of Yuan Kinga, who had not yet recovered. Seeing this, Shenzing chuckled nonchalantly. "Oh, so boring." As he said this, he looked at Wen Jiu, who was standing aside. Seeing the cunning look on his face, he knew that this person was preparing to watch the show again. However, he did not give Wen Jiu this opportunity. He walked over and said mockingly, "Why didn't you shout when you were bullied? How can I explain to your brother if you say this? He is familiar with me." After the words fell, the other party replied calmly, "I thought you must be nearby. My brother handed me over to you, and you would naturally protect me, so I didn't shout or call for you to help." He sneered when he heard this, and then picked up Wen Jiu's hood and dragged him directly to the second floor. Seeing this, Yuan Zihan breathed a sigh of relief. He was indeed too impatient just now. Fortunately, Wen Jiu did not show any abnormality, otherwise it would be difficult for him to ask questions later. And that Lord Shen, he didn't even know when he left and when he appeared again, so he had to be extremely alert to deal with these two people. Oh no, to be more precise, it should be one person and one demon. "Brother, why were you so aggressive just now?" Yuan King had dragged him into the room, and the other party frowned in dissatisfaction. "Miss Leng has no ill intentions. Besides, if you want to know something, why don't you just ask me? I have asked a lot of questions on the way." Hearing this, he smiled helplessly. "I just asked a few more questions because I was worried that you would be deceived. That's all. I was wrong just now. How about I go to Miss Leng to apologize sincerely tomorrow morning?" With his words, Yuan King's complexion was a little better. The other party first helped him sit back on the bed and then opened the paper box that Wen Jiu brought. "Brother, since Miss Leng sent the medicine over, why don't we take it out and try it?" Yuan Zihan wanted to refuse when he heard this, but when he saw Yuan King was eager to try, he swallowed his words. If he said no, the other party would definitely be angry. Forget it. He felt that Wen Jiu would not do such a blatant thing. At most the plaster and ointment had no effect. So he lay down with this mentality, waiting for Yuan King to use the ointment and plaster on him. The other party was a medical soldier in the military district, so he naturally knew how to deal with the injury. "I smelled it, and it's true that this ointment contains some common herbs," Yuan King said, while carefully lifting up his trouser legs, trying to divert his attention. "It's just that I can't smell this ointment for the time being. I'm afraid I have to take it to the laboratory for testing. But I think Miss Leng is a very good person. She shouldn't tamper with these things. When I was locked up by those monsters before, it was she who took the initiative to come and help me untie the restraints. Later on the way, she also gave me food several times, all of which were popular delicacies on the current Zengxing website." Hearing this, Yuan Zihan couldn't help but sigh. "One day we will be able to use the Zengxing website, and then I will buy you whatever you want to eat." He originally wanted to chat with Yuan King for a few more words, but he suddenly smelled a faint smell of medicine, and then a cool feeling came from his calf, which made him relax and close his eyes involuntarily. He felt like he was playing in a stream, and the coolness made him feel very comfortable. "Oh my god, this ointment is so magical." Yuan King couldn't help but exclaim in amazement. She only applied a little bit on Yuan Zihan's wound, and the wound healed at a speed visible to the naked eye. She had never used such a magical ointment before. Even the most advanced ointment in the base could not achieve such a fast healing speed. Generally speaking, it takes at least 3 or 4 days to heal, and it must be applied to the wound several times a day. So when she saw the scene in front of her, she was stunned. "TSK, why don't you give this treasure to the Jade Rabbit clan, if you have it?" At this time, Shenzing, who was eavesdropping on the second floor, suddenly frowned in dissatisfaction. Hearing this, Wen Jiu shrugged disapprovingly. "Why didn't I give it to them? I gave them the opportunity to do it themselves. After they earn star coins, they can buy as much ointment as they want." After she finished speaking, she continued to turn on the sound to listen, so as not to miss any key information. However, Shenzing was still obsessed with the ointment, so he turned off the sound and continued to ask her, "Wait a minute, what ointment did you really make? That was not made by me. Could it be made by you?" She turned on the sound with an unhappy look on her face. "Ask any questions later, and don't touch my monitoring equipment again." She did not lie to Yuan King and Shenzing. The ointment was indeed made by her, but the formula was improved on the basis of the original repair gel. At the beginning, she had a quarrel with her classmates in the 3047 Academy, and it was Zhu Ruman who used the repair gel to heal her injury. Therefore, she wrote down this repair gel and took the time to improve the formula and gave it to Zizio. And what she gave to Yuan King now was the trial product produced by Zizio. After her voice fell, Shenzing was a little more obedient. However, the other party was still dissatisfied, so he used the half demonization to start floating, as if looking for a sense of existence. Alright. Wen Jiu was speechless to Shenzing. They are still applying the medicine, so why don't you tell me where you went, and what you saw and heard? She took off one of her headphones first, then raised her eyebrows at him. Shenzing was a little happier after hearing this, but he didn't rush to tell her what he found. Instead, he curled his lips with interest and said, "If you beg me, I'll tell you." The second update was also successfully delivered. Thanks again to the little angels for their support. 030. Chapter 989 The Strange 13th Military Region 1. Bye. See you tomorrow. Wen Jiu threw Shenzing out directly. She hated people who kept things a secret. Oh no, I almost forgot. The other party was not a human, but a demon. After she said this, she slammed the door shut. Shenzing knocked several times without giving up, and left angrily when she didn't respond. Seeing this, Wen Jiu just turned on the light screen panel nonchalantly, and began to search for what the true star network was. Mainly because Shenzing didn't show any anxiety, she guessed that what the other party wanted to say was not important, so she drove him out unscrupulously. While searching, she continued to monitor with headphones on. Maybe the noise she made just now was a bit loud, and there was only a rustling sound in the headphones. So she turned up the volume, and continued to search on the star network. However, she did not find any information about the real star network, which made her curl her lips and start thinking seriously. Apart from anything else, the star network must be bound to real information before it can be used, which she knew very well. If it is not bound, let alone using the star network, even the wisdom ring cannot be used, and it can only be worn on the finger as a decorative ring. Of course, it is not ruled out that some people with outstanding abilities can hack into the star network or create a fake identity. But she does not think that so many people in the 13th military district can use the star network in this way. When she thought of this, or thought suddenly flashed through her mind. The 13th military district seemed to be isolated from the world, hiding in the desolate star, and using formations to cover up their tracks. Although she did not know the purpose of the 13th military district doing this, she could guess that these people must be avoiding something. And the one who can make a military district so careful to avoid must be a powerful force that ordinary people can hardly resist. But all people who use the star network will have their information entered into the background. In simple terms, as long as you query the background, you can find all the information of the user. No matter the name, age, gender, or coordinates and the original planet, as long as they are entered, they can be checked. And even the 13th military district has to hide everywhere to survive. How could it not think of looking for people through the star network backend? The first possibility is that the force is not strong enough to check the star network backend. The second possibility, which she thinks is the most likely one, is that the people of the 13th military district created another star network in order not to be found. This is also the reason why the UN brothers and sisters call the star network she uses the real star network. But this is too exaggerated, right? What kind of powerful force can force the 13th military district to this point? Not only does it hide on an uninhabited planet and live an isolated life, but it even creates a fake star network in order not to be found. Wen Jiu didn't dare to think about it for a while. Could she be in trouble again? If she had known, she would not have come to this place. She just wanted to do business with the demon clan. Just when she was secretly regretting in her heart, Yuan King's voice suddenly came from the headset. "Brother, the ointment Miss Leng gave us is so effective. I will go talk to her tomorrow and see if I can get the formula out of her. If we also have such an effective ointment, we won't have to worry about getting injured on missions in the future." After a few seconds of silence, Yuan Zehen's voice rang out. "I think it's better to forget it. After all, this ointment was developed by Miss Leng herself. It's not good for you to do this." Then, Yuan King said with some dissatisfaction, "Miss Leng is kind-hearted. What if she is willing to give us the formula or trade it with us? Besides, didn't she come here To do business with the monsters? If she can do business with the monsters, why can't she do business with us? Kinga, you are still too impulsive and think too little. Although Yuan Zihan was correcting Yuan Kinga's point of view, the other party's tone was full of tenderness, and there was no falsehood when chatting with her before. The reason why Miss Leng does business with those monsters is because the monsters can afford to give equivalent things. But what we have is not worth mentioning to Miss Leng. Do you think she will lack the tea produced in Xianshan, or the various clothes you sew for me, or the wind chasing car made by Grandpa Chang? These things can be bought on Zengxing.com, and they are even better than what we have, so why do you think Miss Leng wants to do business with us? When Wen Jiu heard this, she couldn't help but shout silently in her heart. She needs it. How could she not need it? She could ask Ming Yehan to buy tea leaves, and then make it into tea drinks and sell it. She could also pay for embroidery out of her own pocket and take it to the Star Network world to earn star coins. If she encountered an embroidery that was particularly well embroidered, she could also help introduce it to the Federal Auction House and get a share after it was appraised and auctioned. As for the Wind Chaser, although it looks ordinary, the engine is very powerful. She can ask Yu Ruman if she knows any motorcycle bosses, and maybe she can use this technology to exchange for star coins. In short, she has many ideas to earn star coins. Although she can't hand over the formula to the 13th military region, they can sit down and discuss other conditions. Thinking of this, Wen Jiu immediately shook his head. She needs to calm down. She needs to calm down. Just from the current situation, it can be seen that the 13th military region is a trouble. She really doesn't want to get into trouble again. She just wants to make money, study and live a small life. I'm just saying this in front of you, Yuan Kinga said after a while of silence. I also hope that our 13th military district can get better. Brother, you haven't seen how beautiful the wisdom ring Miss Leng is wearing. You can tell at a glance that it is a real one, not a fake one with strange colors like the ones we wear. Hearing this, Wen Jiu couldn't help but be stunned for a moment. It seems that her imagination is not big enough. Not only did the 13th military district build another star network, but even the wisdom ring was a fake. Wait. She suddenly remembered something. No wonder she could easily break the seal of the wisdom ring before. It turned out that those wisdom rings were all fakes. She thought it was because of her strong mental power, but she never expected that this wisdom ring was not that wisdom ring. Sure enough, people still can't be too confident. Just as she was thinking divergently, she heard Yuan Zihan's voice. Okay, when the situation gets better, I will buy you a beautiful wisdom ring. The other party comforted Yuan Kinga very gently, but for now, you should go back to your room and have a good rest. Then Yuan Kinga left the room, and Yuan Zihan also rested with a cane. But she still insisted on listening for a while. After confirming that there was no other information to listen to, she turned off the monitoring equipment and went to wash up. It's necessary to rest, and she has to see Lan Zinai tomorrow. I'm afraid it's another performance of mutual testing. Source this is the third update for today. Please check it out, my lovely little angels. 030. Chapter 990 The Strange 13th Military Region 2. The next morning, Lan Zinai came to the small house where the Yuan brothers and sisters lived, just as she had said before. Commander Lan, you came so early. When Jiu was eating the red bean paste buns made by Yuan Kinga, I thought you would come later. Seeing this, she just smiled and said, I always keep my word, so I can't be late. Seeing Wen Jiu was still eating breakfast, she sat in the living room and waited. However, she had just sat on the sofa for a while when she saw Yuan Zihan walking over with a cane. The other party first greeted her with a smile and then found a suitable reason to sit down. It's really inconvenient to walk with a cane. Yuan Zihan sat down very slowly and shouted in the direction of the restaurant. Kinga, please bring my breakfast over. My hands are a little sore, so I'll just eat it on the sofa. Hearing this, she immediately understood what the other party meant. Your leg injury has not healed yet, so it's better to rest more and walk less. By the way, when the entrance was opened yesterday, I asked Songbo to send people out to the nearest planet to replenish supplies. I specifically told them to buy more medical supplies. There are too few medical supplies left in the warehouse now, otherwise you wouldn't have to use herbs to treat your leg injury. After hearing her words, Yuan Zihan hurriedly sighed as if unintentionally. Alas, our military region is short of medical supplies, and we can't produce medicines in large quantities. It's okay to use some herbs for minor injuries and illnesses. It would be great if our military region could produce medicines or ointments, but it's a pity that our military region really doesn't have enough equipment, and the formulas of medicines circulating on the market are too complicated. While the two were discussing, Wen Jiu was eating breakfast, pretending not to hear. In fact, she heard every word clearly, and was still guessing the intentions of Lan Ziniu and Yuan Zihan. The shortage of medical supplies is not a big deal, but it is certainly not a small matter. Normally, such things would not be mentioned in front of outsiders like her. After all, every military region does not want the outside world to know all aspects of its own situation. It seems that the ointments and potions she gave to the Yuan brothers and sisters last night have been used. Otherwise Yuan Zihan and Lan Ziniu would not have mentioned the shortage of medical supplies for no reason. TSK, are they planning to use her formula so quickly? Just as she was secretly guessing, she suddenly heard Yuan Zihan mention her. By the way, I almost forgot to apologize to Miss Leng. The other party raised his voice when he said this, as if he was afraid that she couldn't hear him. The reason I asked you those questions was mainly because I was worried about Kinga. Later, Lord Shen's words awakened me from my dream and made me realize that I had offended you unintentionally. I'm so sorry, Miss Leng. I shouldn't have treated you like that yesterday. When I think of the fact that you specially sent me medicine and ointment, I feel even more guilty and ashamed. I'm really sorry, and I hope you can forgive my rudeness. Good guy, this Yuan Zihan is really flexible. Yesterday he was aggressively asking questions, but today he apologized to her humbly. The other party really took great pains for the 13th military region. Seeing that Wen Jiu didn't respond, Yuan Kinga was very nervous for a while. But before she could open her mouth to plead for Yuan Zihan, she heard a cold voice coming from the direction of the stairs. If you really want to apologize to her, then kneel down and kowtow. I guarantee that she will forgive you immediately and mercifully. Hearing this, she couldn't help but open her eyes wide in a daze. Although she knew that Lord Shen had a strange temper and spoke ruthlessly, she really didn't expect that he would do this. So she couldn't help but speak directly. Lord Shen, my brother also went to Miss Leng to question him out of concern. He really has no ill intentions. Although Yuan Zihan did something wrong in this matter, the other party did it because he was worried about her. Everyone in the 13th military region knew that Yuan Zihan had the gentlest temperament. He never deliberately hurt or made things difficult for others. He even stood up to persuade others many times. Just when she was thinking about how to help Yuan Zihan, Shenzing's voice rang again. She was ready to give examples to persuade, but the other party did not do it as she expected. Oh, if you say so, then it is. Shenzing sat at the dining table with an indifferent look. Millet porridge, red bean paste buns, pickles. It's quite rich. Hearing this, Wen Jiu suppressed her smile and replied, it's quite rich. You should eat quickly. Everyone is waiting for you now. In fact, she had already thought about how to deal with Yuan Zihan's moral kidnapping, but she didn't expect Shenzing to suddenly stand up and be sarcastic. But to be honest, Yuan Zihan didn't get any benefits yesterday. Many of the other party's questions were blocked by her, and at worst, they gave half-true and half-false answers. Moreover, she later relied on the eavesdropping device that was secretly attached when delivering medicine to eavesdrop on a lot of valuable and meaningful information, so she didn't lose in yesterday's contest. In general, she and Yuan Zihan are 70:30, so she is not particularly dissatisfied. HMPH, it's because you didn't come to wake me up. Shenzing glanced at her unhappily when he mentioned this. In the past, Zuxu always prepared breakfast and brought it to me. It's okay that you didn't bring me breakfast, but you didn't even wake me up. When she heard this, she spread her hands helplessly. You also know that was in the past. You are already a demon of such an old age, and you don't know how to get up and eat. I feel ashamed to say it. Although they were arguing with each other, anyone with a discerning eye could see that the atmosphere was very harmonious. But it was different for Lan Ziniu and Yuan Zihan. The atmosphere was stiff, as if ice and snow had fallen. Especially the latter, whose face turned blue and white, and the corners of his mouth, that were originally raised, fell down. Seeing this, Lan Xiao quickly stepped out to ease the atmosphere, and brought Yuan Zhen back to her normal state. I thought Lord Shen was aloof, but I didn't expect him to be a joker. Zhan, you have to learn more about telling jokes, otherwise your sister will complain about you being too serious. As she spoke, she glanced at the restaurant. Fortunately, Wen Jiu and Shenzing were eating happily, and didn't intend to continue to find fault. What Commander Lan said is right. Yuan Zhen was not someone who had never been criticized before, so she quickly recovered. By the way, the ointment that Miss Leng sent last night is very useful. Now my leg injury has healed 2/3. As soon as the other party finished speaking, she quickly continued, really? Jiang, please check the first update of today, Little Angels. 030 Mua. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 991, The Strange 13th Military Region 3. To be honest, Lan Xiao's acting skills were so bad that it was unbearable to watch. So after listening for a few minutes, Wen Jiu couldn't help but get straight to the point. Okay, stop beating around the bush. Do you want my formula? If so, let's talk about it openly. If not, just pretend I didn't ask. She could see that Lan Xiao was not a person who liked to beat around the bush, so she decisively chose to point out the other party's intention and speak openly. As soon as her voice fell, Lan Xiao's originally stiff expression became clear in an instant. Leng He, I really didn't misjudge you. Alas, I said a long time ago that it's better to be direct than to argue with you. It's really tiring to do these roundabout ways. So, Sister Lan came to me to discuss the formula, right? She ate the bean paste bun slowly, while waiting for the other party's next answer. Hearing this, Lan Xiao stood up and walked over. Yes, I learned from Zhan that your ointment is very effective, and I also know that this ointment was prepared by you yourself, so I wondered if I could buy the formula and give it to the military region for production. Because she felt that when Jiu had already guessed it, she did not intend to conceal the source of the information. Besides, the other party had already pointed out that he wanted to talk about things openly, so there was no need for her to deliberately make a roundabout way. Besides, she didn't like this kind of thing. If Yuan Zhen didn't think that Wen Jiu was too cunning and not suitable for close friends, she would not have made it difficult for herself to deliberately cooperate with the other party to play routines. You can rest assured that I will never force you to sell the formula, nor will I try to buy the formula at a low price. She walked to the dining table and pulled a chair to sit down. Let's talk it over. It would be best if this thing can be done, but it doesn't matter if it can't be done. Hearing this, Wen Jiu just smiled and said, to be honest, I have already sold the formula of this ointment. She had no intention of selling the formula to the 13th military region. She gave the ointment to the Yuan brothers and sisters in the beginning, mainly to find an opportunity to install a bug, so she had thought about how to answer before Lan Xiao finished speaking. As soon as she finished speaking, a trace of loss flashed in the other party's eyes. However, Lan Xiao soon regained her smile and waved her hand with a very relieved smile and said, it's obvious that such a good thing is not our turn to pick up. Forget it, just pretend that I didn't say anything just now. Before she could speak, the other party smiled and continued, wait until Leng He and Lord Shen finish breakfast, then we will go to the stone tablet at the entrance. Don't worry, no one will interrupt this time, and Colonel Bei has been successfully persuaded by me. After hearing this, Yuan Kinga on the side couldn't help but light a candle for Colonel Bei in her heart. Because everyone in the 13th military region knew that Lan Xiao had only one way to persuade others, that is to tie people up and beat them up. In the eyes of the other party, beating them up was equivalent to persuading them. When Jiu listened and observed Lan Xiao's expression, to be honest, the other party's temperament was quite to her liking. So after thinking about it for a while, she smiled and expressed her thoughts. If you want my ointment, you don't have to buy the formula. Why don't you change your mindset and buy the ointment instead of the formula? Lan Xiao's eyes showed a hint of sadness after she finished speaking. Since we are talking about this matter openly, I won't hide some things from you. You also know that our 13th military region has been secluded from the world for a long time, so naturally there is no way to earn a lot of star coins. It is precisely because of this that we are short of supplies, and many things must be made by ourselves. If their 13th military region had enough star coins, there would not be a shortage of various supplies. She tried to speak more tactfully, so that Wen Jiu would not think she was playing misery. But it should be no problem to buy a small amount of ointment. She added a few words for fear that the other party would feel pity. I wonder what the name of the ointment you gave to Yuan Zihan, Lenki. Then I can arrange for my soldiers to buy some back for preparation. Hearing this, Wen Jiu swallowed back what he wanted to say and only said the answer Lan Xiao wanted. She originally thought that the Desolate Star would belong to her in the future. As long as the 13th military district did not cause any trouble, it would not be impossible for her to sell the ointment to these people. If she was in a good mood, she could even lower the price a little. It would definitely be lower than the price of buying directly on the market, so that the people in the 13th military district would be better off. But she could see that Lan Xiao was arrogant and did not want to accept her pity and charity, so she silently gave up the idea. Anyway, the formula had been given to AOS Medical, so why didn't she lie down and count the star coins? Why did she have to torment herself all the time? Thinking of this, she brought up Lan Xiao's previous topic. By the way, Sister Lan, are we going to the stone tablet to see the formation now? It happened that Shenzing had finished breakfast at this time, and the other party rarely did anything strange, and followed her words. Why don't we set off immediately? The sooner we solve the problem, the sooner we can go back. Your brother is still waiting. Because Shenzing said so, Lan Xiao couldn't say anything else, so she took them and the Yuan brothers and sisters to the stone tablet. At first Yuan Zihan wanted to stay at home, but he still couldn't let go of his guard against Wen Jiu, and after some hesitation he got on Yuan King's car. In fact, his leg injury had almost healed after applying the ointment last night, and now he would walk around without the pain and discomfort he had before. He was very grateful to Wen Jiu in his heart, but as a member of the 13th military region and a soldier who swore to defend the military region to the death, it was inevitable that he would be on guard against the other party. Brother, did you secretly contact Commander Lan last night? Yuan King drove very slowly this time to take care of his injuries. Hearing this, he rarely felt embarrassed, as if he had been caught. It was Commander Lan who was busy dealing with Colonel Bei's affairs, so he gave the task to me before you came back. After all, Miss Ling and Mr. Shen are outsiders, and we have to get some intelligence to prepare for it. I know you are worried about the military region, but Miss Ling really has no ill intentions. The other party communicated with him while driving the wind chaser. I didn't tell you before that Miss Ling actually had no intention of coming to the base. It was that Lord Shen asked her to come with us, so she came here. The two chatted intermittently and didn't notice that Wen Jiu, who was carried by Shenzing, had already heard everything they said. It's just that Wen Jiu was not thinking about the Yuan brothers and sisters, but thinking about what Lan Xiao said just now, which seemed to reveal something useful and important. Today's second update has been delivered. Please check it out. Little Angel Soars. Whisper. I'd like to apologize to the little angels first. It may be that the weather is too hot and there are frequent power outages during this period, which makes the little author impatient. The little author is really uncomfortable typing today. I feel that I can't write the feeling I want, no matter how hard I try. So I will update 2 chapters tonight, to give the little author some time to slowly sort out his thoughts. ORZ. Chapter 992 Newer Stone and Crystal 1. The 13th military district seems to be living a life of isolation and self-reliance, but in fact, it sends people to other planets every month to resupply supplies. So there are 2 questions here. One is where the star coins for the 13th military district's monthly supplies come from, and the other is how the 13th military district left the Desolate Star. The former may be the star coins accumulated by the 13th military district in its early years. If it saves a little every month, it may have been used until now. After all, the 13th military district is a military district after all, and it manages many planets and industries. Wen Jiu still remembers that when she checked the information of the 13th military district on the star network, she found that the star system to which the 3047th planet belonged was once under the management of the 13th military district. You know, the Federation has only been established for more than 200 years, which is enough for the 13th military district to accumulate a lot of star coins. It makes sense that it has been eating up the savings until now. However, when she communicated with Zhu Wangming before, she learned a piece of information. That is, the 13th military district disappeared more than 100 years ago. So, are the star coins accumulated by the 13th military district really enough to save money for more than 100 years? In short, she reserved her opinion on this point. She had too few clues at the moment, and could not give a correct answer. As for how the 13th military district left the desolate planet, she planned to send a message to Yeo Fengyan, who stayed in the space station. It was not that she did not trust the people sent by Yu Ruman, but she felt that Yeo Fengyan, as a mercenary, had been traveling between various planets for many years, and must have more information and intelligence than Guaning and others. The people from the 13th military district must have left by spaceship, but she wanted to check the flight route of the spaceship and the planet where the spaceship of the 13th military district went. She estimated that, as long as she had this information, she would know the true situation of the 13th military district. Alas, how could she run into trouble when doing business? If she had not wanted to buy the desolate planet, she would not have bothered to investigate the situation of the 13th military district. If the 13th military district is here to endure hardships and suddenly jump out to cause something big, then she, the Star Lord, will be the first to bear the brunt, and all the millions of star coins invested will be wasted. She felt so heartbroken just thinking about it. She just hoped that the 13th military district would be more obedient and never think of causing any trouble. We are here. I have already arranged for people to clear the area in advance. Lance and Io first put the wind chaser into the wisdom ring space and asked the soldiers guarding the stone tablet to step back. When she said clearing the area, she meant to stop all irrelevant personnel outside, not to let the soldiers guarding the stone tablet in the stone platform leave. It's just that this is an important place of the 13th military district, so she usually arranges soldiers to guard here, but today she added another team of soldiers to guard it just in case. "Please, Mr. Shen, come and take a look," she said as she walked towards the stone tablet. "I still remember Mr. Shen said last night that this stone tablet should be the eye of the formation. So if we want to repair the formation, should we start with this stone tablet?" Hearing this, Shenzing first put Wen Jiu down, and then, under the curious gazes of everyone, slowly floated to the side of the stone tablet. Yes and no. In addition to the stone tablet that serves as the eye of your formation, there should also be spirit stones that activate the formation and maintain its operation. In other words, if you want to repair the formation, not only do you have to start with the stone tablet, you also need to find and replace the corresponding spirit stones. After all, there are only two reasons that cause the formation to fail. One is human destruction, and the other is that the spiritual treasure that operates the formation can no longer be used. For example, this seemingly ordinary stone tablet is actually a very rare spiritual treasure. He saw the problem with the formation as soon as he arrived yesterday, and he also saw what was special about this stone tablet standing at the entrance. After the words fell, Lan Xiao, who was standing aside, hurriedly asked, "Then Mr. Shen, do you know what kind of spiritual treasure this stone tablet is? Where can we find it? And what is the spiritual stone that maintains the operation of the formation?" "This is a spiritual treasure called Nuwa stone, but this kind is of relatively poor quality. If you want to find Nuwa stone, it is not difficult to find, but it is a spiritual treasure after all, so it must be a bit difficult." He frowned in confusion as he spoke, because Nuwa stone only exists in two places. One is Emperor Xiu Valley, and the other is Menghu Ridge. In fact, Nuwa stone is not a particularly rare spiritual treasure. The Changle Hall of the Jade Rabbit clan is built with newer stone, and the palace, where the White Tiger lives, is also built with newer stone. So for him, it is not difficult to find newer stone. But for humans like Lan Xiao, it is still difficult to find a newer stone of the same size as this stone tablet. They either find a way to enter Emperor Xiu Valley, or go to Menghu Ridge to find the White Tiger. Thinking of this, an idea suddenly flashed through Shenzing's mind. First of all, Beihu, a lazy tiger, will definitely not care about humans, let alone take the initiative to get close to humans. Only a sacred tree like Xiu, who is willing to tolerate all things in the world, will be willing to help humans and even become friends with humans. And there is a newer stone here, and these people also have the token given by Xiu. Could it be that this formation is really set up by the other party? Then Lord Shen, can you point out where the newer stone usually appears? Seeing that Shenzing knew so much, Lan Xiao wanted to find out the origin of the newer stone. You also know that this formation will not last long. Right now we really don't have time to look for things everywhere. After she finished speaking, the other party did not answer immediately, but asked her several questions in return. Why did you send someone to find Xiu before? Do you know Xiu? And who gave you the token in your hand? Hearing this, she pondered for a long time before answering softly. To be honest, I don't know Xiu. It can be said that no one in our 13th military district knows Xiu. And the token was left by the commander-in-chief who first brought people here to escape from the world. He said that if our 13th military district encountered a problem that could not be solved, we could take this thing to find a demon named Xiu for help. The commander-in-chief also said that unless it was a matter of life and death, try not to disturb Xiu. In fact, this matter is no longer a secret in the 13th military district. After all, more than half of the people living here are soldiers of the military district, and they naturally know the mission of her and the senior officials to send people out to seek help. As soon as she finished speaking, Shenzing stopped talking and only lowered his eyes in thought. Seeing this, she couldn't help but feel a little worried. But before she had time to think deeply, she heard Wen Jiu's voice. Sister Lan, what do you put on this stone platform? Today's third update is up. Kak, thank you little angels for your understanding and support. Love you 030. Chapter 993 Newer Stone and Crystal 2. Because Lan Xiao felt that Shenzing had a chance to repair the formation, and she had revealed a lot of information before, this one was not a big deal. So she walked to the stone platform nearby, and began to explain the use of the stone platform to Wen Jiu. Every time you perform a ritual, the one that opens the entrance, you need to put the crystal in, she said while gesturing. You can think of it as a keyhole and a key. The keyhole is a stone platform in front of you, and the key is the crystal I keep. As soon as she finished speaking, Shenzing suddenly asked, crystal? What kind of crystal is it? In fact, she didn't know what kind of crystal it was, so after thinking about it again and again, she took the crystal out of the wisdom ring space. This is passed down from one commander to another. She placed a crystal about half the size of a palm on the stone platform, so that Wen Jiu and Shenzing could take a closer look. I remember Mr. Shen mentioned the spirit stone that activates the formation and maintains its operation. Could this crystal be the spirit stone? However, the other party shook his head and replied, no, it's not a spirit stone. Although spirit stones have different shapes like stones, Shenzing can still distinguish them. Hearing this, Lan Xiao couldn't help but sigh. She thought that this unknown crystal was a spirit stone, and she was thinking about asking the soldiers to compare and search for it. As a result, her guess failed again. Now she only hopes that Shenzing can reveal more information about newer stone and spirit stones. Otherwise, in the last 3 months, they may find it difficult to find these unheard of things. Just when she was a little discouraged, Wen Jiu suddenly picked up the crystal on the stone platform. This crystal seems familiar. The other party looked at the crystal in his hand seriously. I seem to have seen it somewhere. Before she could speak, she heard Shenzing said, you have seen it. You can't have seen it. Why? Wen Jiu raised his head with a puzzled look. She felt very familiar with this crystal when she saw it for the first time, but she just couldn't remember where she had seen it for a while. But what she can confirm is that she has really seen this kind of crystal, but it is not in this shape. Shenzing first glanced at Lan Xinyao, as if thinking about whether to tell the truth. After Lan Xinyao noticed the sight, she pursed her lips and showed a hint of entanglement. It can be seen that the other party really wants to know the origin of this crystal. Seeing this, she said at the right time, "Lord Shen, if you are not convenient to say it, let's talk about it privately later." Between Lan Xinyao and Shenzing, she would definitely choose Shenzing, so she didn't leave any polite words. However, to her surprise, Shenzing took the initiative to say, "This crystal is also a spiritual treasure bred by heaven and earth. It is not that rare, because its quantity is not much different from that of newer stone. So as long as you find the right place, you can find a lot of it. But the key is that it will only appear in one place, and that place is only for the demons. So I said you can't have seen this crystal. In fact, for the demons who have survived for a long time like Shenzing, many natural treasures are not particularly rare. In his eyes, a rare spiritual treasure like newer stone is just a material for building a house. But for those human monks in the past, a piece of newer stone was enough to attract tens of thousands of people to fight for it. As for the moon shadow crystal, it is even more of a rare treasure for humans." Hearing this, Wen Jiu couldn't help but ask curiously, "Where can I find this kind of crystal?" "That's not what you should ask." He glanced at the other party with some displeasure. "I can only tell you that this is called moon shadow crystal, which is absolutely priceless for humans." He was willing to come to the human territory for the sake of Emperor Xiu, but it was absolutely impossible for him to do more. In simple terms, it was okay to repair the formation, but not to help find materials. Even if he could easily find newer stone and moon shadow crystal, he was unwilling to help. However, the key to open the entrance was moon shadow crystal, which was enough to prove that it was a demon and not a human who set up the formation. This made him particularly curious now, which demon tribe was so kind that they would help these humans set up the formation to hide their tracks. Could it be that Emperor Xiu really did it? But why didn't he have any impression? Just as Shenzing was thinking silently, he suddenly saw Wen Jiu put down the crystal. The next second, the other party took out a round crystal ball. "Lord Shen, take a look at this. Is this the moon shadow crystal you mentioned?" Seeing this, Shenzing's eyes widened in an instant. "Where did you get this from?" "Well, this is a long story." Wen Jiu held the crystal ball with both hands. "So is this the moon shadow crystal you mentioned?" At first, she really couldn't remember where she had seen such a crystal. It was transparent with a light purple color, and the texture was transparent without a trace of impurities. In the absence of light source, it still emits a faint light. It was not until Shenzing mentioned the name of the moon shadow crystal that she remembered that the crystal ball in the wisdom ring space seemed to be called this name. But she was not sure yet, because when she confronted the god of Sulemei in the small room, the other party said in person that this crystal ball was made of shadow crystal. But she thought she could ask Shenzing, so she took out the crystal ball directly. "Point, bring it here for me to see." The other party's expression, which was trying to be calm, still contained a trace of surprise and doubt. Seeing this, Wen Jiu directly handed over the crystal ball. However, in order to be safe, she summoned the deep sea blue flame. After handing over the crystal ball, she still remembered the god of Sulemei who suddenly appeared when she studied the crystal ball last time. "Wow, you are a fire type mutant?" Lan Xinyao looked over curiously, "But why is your flame blue?" Hearing this, she thought for a while before answering. "Maybe it's because I'm more powerful." She didn't know how to explain to Lan Xinyao. She couldn't say that this was the strange fire she subdued. Fortunately, the other party didn't mean to ask more questions. After just looking at it for a while, he looked away. Wen Jiu saw that Shenzing was still studying the crystal ball, so he walked to the stone tablet to check it carefully. She really didn't expect that this seemingly ordinary stone tablet was made of the legendary Nuwa stone. She knew about the spiritual treasure of Nuwa stone, but she had never seen it before. After all, she was also very knowledgeable about formations, so she knew which spiritual treasures could be used to set up formations. However, what she didn't know was that while she was investigating the 13th military region, Chu Jian on the other side also took action. Chapter 994 People in the Blue Bad Tribe 1. Don't delay any longer. I'm going to lose my patience if you continue. Can you please give me an answer? At this time, Chu Jian was holding an assault rifle. His pair of purple eyes were full of displeasure, and the corners of his handsome lips raised with a hint of rebelliousness. I've been here with you for 5 days, and you tell me every day to wait and wait, he said as he loaded the gun skillfully. I've said a long time ago that I don't have time to waste. If you keep doing this, don't blame me for being angry. As soon as he finished speaking, Tumaksu, who was standing aside, said quickly, brother, don't worry, I believe that leader King Meng will give us an answer. It doesn't matter whether he gives an answer or not, he said, pointing the muzzle of the gun at a large tree not far away, and saw a volley of bullets directly penetrate the tree trunk. Now, return my things immediately, otherwise the fate of this tree will be the fate of your Blue Bad tribe. Hearing this, King Meng, who had been reluctant to speak, said with embarrassment, Mr. Chu, I really don't mean to perfunctorily answer you. I'm actually very tempted by your cooperation, but there are too many birds in our Blue Bad tribe, and we really can't give a reply at the moment. You must know that the number of the Blue Bad tribe is no less than that of the Jade Rabbit tribe next door. But the number of elders in charge of the Bluebird clan is twice that of the Jade Rabbit clan. What can she do? She is also desperate. Although she is the patriarch of the Bluebird clan, the important matter of cooperating with humans must be voted by the elders. She advocates cooperation with Chu Jian. First, the Bluebird clan is not like the Jade Rabbit clan, who can farm and raise pigs every day and live a fulfilling life. The Bluebird clan is best at delivering letters and things, but other monster tribes do not need to deliver things all the time, which leads to many bluebirds living a listless life every day. She felt that if this continued, there would be big problems sooner or later. It just so happened that Chu Jian said that he needed the Bluebird clan to deliver things, and it was the kind that had work to do every day, so this was exactly what she wanted. Second, she knew that the Jade Rabbit clan was the most timid demon clan. Even Tumaksu of the Jade Rabbit clan was willing to cooperate with humans, so what did the Bluebird clan have to worry about? Moreover, the Jade Rabbit clan was protected by Lord Shen and Emperor Xiu. Since the Jade Rabbit clan had reached a cooperation agreement with Chu Jian, it meant that Chu Jian had no ill intentions, which made her feel that she should seize this hard-won opportunity. It was a pity that there were 8 or 9 elders in the clan who were unwilling to agree to cooperate. There were also 3 or 4 elders who remained neutral. This led to the delay in the vote of the Elders' Council, which really exhausted the supporters on her side. Today is the 5th day since I came here. Chu Jian silently changed his bullet. If you bluebirds don't want to cooperate, return the gifts I gave you to show your sincerity. You want to take the gifts and not do anything. What are you dreaming about? He originally wanted to wait for Wen Jiu to come back in the Jade Rabbits, but after hearing Tumaksu say that the Great Elder was going to find the bluebirds, he took the initiative to propose that he and Tumaksu go to the bluebirds to discuss cooperation. After learning the whole story, after all, this matter was ultimately Wen Jiu's business. He stayed in the Jade Rabbits, except for playing games with Husan and doing farm work in the fields with Tumaksu, which was really boring. So he carefully selected some gifts, which were the supplies prepared by Zizu before, and the pet supplies that Wen Jiu gave him, and then came to the bluebirds to discuss cooperation. Although the extra supplies were useless, he picked things that the demons didn't have, and they were still very useful. But after receiving the gift, the bluebirds kept finding excuses to avoid talking to him, leaving him and Tumaksu aside. Isn't it obvious that they want to take the gift, but not do anything? So after he was perfunctorily treated again today, he really couldn't stand this group of bad people. That's right, in his eyes, people with wings are not called angels or bluebirds, but bird people. Mr. Chu, listen to me. I will absolutely treat our cooperation this time with 100% sincerity. King Meng really wanted to slap the group of elders who sang the opposite tune to death. because she had to deal with other important matters in the past few days. She handed the matter of entertaining Chujayan and Tumaksu to the elders she trusted the most. Who knew that the group of elders who advocated accepting gifts, but not doing anything would make things difficult for the elders she sent to entertain, which led to Chujayan and Tumaksu being perfunctorily treated. In addition, she had not been the chief for long, and unlike Tumaksu, she did not have the support of her mother-in-law who was the chief elder. Naturally, she could not compare with those who held opposing votes in terms of power and foundation. Therefore, it was not easy for her to vent her anger, and she could only argue with those elders. When she heard Chujayan was angry today, she immediately suspended the elders' meeting and rushed over, hoping to calm him down. How about this, Mr. Chu? King Meng saw that Chujayan still had a cold face, so she could only pat her chest and make a promise. Give me another 3 days, and I will give you an answer within these 3 days. How about it? As soon as she finished speaking, before the other party answered, a graceful woman fell from the sky, and the other party quickly folded her large blue wings, and then lifted her black hair, to reveal a bright smile. Oh, so the chief flew out in such a hurry, just to keep this little human. TSK, Chief, you are really rude. It is only natural for humans to give us the Bluebird clan. Why do you have to drag us to the elders meeting just for him? Hearing this, she really wanted to tear the feathers of the person in front of her. It would be fine for her to say such words, but she was not afraid to say them in front of others. The fifth elder who came with her to find Chujayan was so angry that he said directly, King Gyun, didn't you see the clan leader talking about business with the guest? I saw it. King Gyun's beautiful face was full of smiles. It was obvious that the other party didn't take it seriously at all. I came here just because I saw it. The clan leader has been making a fuss about this human for several days. As the 11th elder, I naturally have to help the clan leader solve his problems. Isn't this human clamoring to destroy my clan? Why not let him fight with me so that he can know the strength of my Bluebird clan? Hearing this, King Meng didn't know what to say for a while. Fight? The strength of the Bluebird clan. Their Bluebird clan is only a little better than the Jade Rabbit clan. Where did King Gyun get the confidence to beat Chujayan? Just as she was thinking about how to persuade King Gyun to retreat, she saw Chujayan suddenly pulled out a dagger. The other party subdued King Gyun in an instant and put the sharp dagger against King Gyun's neck. The next second, bright red blood beads overflowed. Today's second update has also been successfully delivered. Thank you little angels for your support and love. 030. Chapter 995. People in the Blue Bad Tribe too. Seeing this, King Meng could not help but stand there in a daze. The main reason was that Chujayan's movements were done in one go, and she did not see how he did it. She did not even notice when Chujayan put away his gun and changed to a knife. In a blink of an eye, King Yun, who was originally smiling, was frightened and pale. Although she was very happy that someone could deal with King Yun, because she had been unhappy with him for a long time, but as the head of the clan, she still had to remain fair, so she could only hold back her happiness and quickly persuaded, Mr. Chu, calm down first. King Yun is indeed not very good at speaking. You know, she has a problem here. She used her fingers while talking, and even did so in front of King Yun. King Meng, you have a problem with your brain. The other party was so angry that he was anxious and panicked. Why don't you quickly subdue this human? He wants to kill me. Hearing this, she winked at the fifth elder beside her, and the other party immediately understood and spread his wings, and then spread his wings, and flew towards the vast sky. King Gyun, you know I'm not good at fighting, she said, coughing. I've asked the fifth elder to call the birds. You just hold on until everyone comes to help. In fact, she thought it was good for Chujayan to deal with King Gyun like this. The other party was still living in the legends of the past, so she thought that humans were still something, that the bluebirds could do whatever they wanted, but she didn't know that humans had long been able to be masters of their own house. She had said before that being isolated from the world was not a good thing, but these pedantic elders thought she was too radical. Fortunately, she had always adhered to the concept of endless learning and left the bluebird's territory from time to time to contact the outside world. Otherwise she would be as short-sighted as King Gyun and other birds. Brother, calm down. Although Tumaksu knew that Chujayadan would not really kill King Gyun, he was still shocked when he saw the hostility in his eyes. Even if these bluebirds were arrogant and rude, he felt that things could not be solved in this way. If they couldn't reach a cooperation, they could just go to other monster tribes. The elk tribe and reindeer tribe are good, but they are not as professional as the bluebird tribe in delivering things. But it is still okay to train them seriously, which is worse than forcing a cooperation now and causing problems in the future. Hearing this, Chujayadan only looked at Tumaksu with a smile. I know what I'm doing. As he said this, he loosened his hand that was restraining King Yuan's movements, but the other party was so scared that he fell to the ground in an instant, looking completely lost and terrified. Chief King, let's continue the topic just now. He played with the blood-stained dagger in his hand, and a smile appeared in his beautiful peach blossom eyes. Although it looks frightening, there is an inexplicable sense of enchantment. Seeing this, King Meng lowered his head quickly. Okay, then. Can you give me another 3 days? To be honest, 3 days is a bit long. He half closed his eyes, as if thinking about something. One day, I will go to the Elders Council with you. If they agree to cooperate, we will continue to discuss cooperation. But if they don't agree, please return my things. Perhaps because he had been with Wen Jiu for a long time, he began to value these material things. He didn't know whether the progress on the other side was smooth and whether he would encounter difficult people like these bluebirds. After speaking, King Meng was silent for a few minutes, and then he took a deep breath and made a decision. Okay, then we will make a quick decision. You, me and the rabbit clan leader will go to the Elders Council together. Tumaksu, who was suddenly named, was confused, but he didn't ask King Meng why, because he could see that the other party was very flustered. He knew that King Meng had been in power for a short time. As a demon who inherited the position of clan leader at a young age, he understood the other party's difficulties and knew the pain of dealing with the elders. So he agreed without saying anything, and it was also a way to cheer King Meng up. Chujayadan had no objection to this. He came with Tumaksu, and it was natural for them to go to the elders meeting together. However, just when the three of them reached an agreement, King Yuan finally came to her senses and spread her wings. No. She stared at King Meng angrily. You allowed humans to set foot on the territory of the Bluebird clan, which was already a mistake. Now you are even dreaming of bringing humans to the elders meeting. How could our Bluebird clan have a traitor like you who colludes with humans? King Meng, are you worthy of the old patriarch who sacrificed himself to protect the Bluebird clan? After she finished speaking, she spread her wings and flew upwards, fearing that Chujayadan would rush over and hurt her again. Hearing this, King Meng couldn't help but clench her fists. My father's accident was not because of you. He was determined to fight for a way out for the Bluebird clan, but you tried to reach a cooperation with the Flying Tiger clan for the sake of immediate interests. It would have been better if she didn't mention this matter. As soon as she mentioned this matter, she became furious. It was because of her father's desire to protect this group of idiots that he was killed by the Flying Tigers. Now King Yuan actually wanted to use this incident to morally blackmail her, which made her not want to take on the so-called responsibility of the clan leader for a while, and she just wanted to rush into the sky and have a good fight with the other party. Perhaps the anger on her face was too obvious. King Yuan immediately rose a few meters before saying, "What? Aren't we also for the Bluebirds? How could we know that the Flying Tigers were harboring evil intentions? Besides, your father, as the clan leader, should protect the Bluebirds. He accidentally made a mistake and died. What does it have to do with us innocent birds? Anyway, I have seen with my own eyes that you are colluding with humans and condoning humans to hurt an innocent bird like me. I will go to the Council of Elders to expose your mistakes. You can just wait to be removed from the position of clan leader and get out of the Bluebirds." As soon as the other party finished speaking, he immediately flew into the sky. Seeing this, King Meng felt her blood boiling with anger. She wanted to spread her wings and fly to catch up with King Yuan, pin her down, pluck out all her feathers, and beat her up so that she would know how powerful she was. But she promised her father that she would protect the Bluebirds. Doing so would go against her oath. For a moment, she didn't know what to do. Just when she was struggling, Chu Jian took out a weapon that she had never seen before. Mr. Chu, forget it. We bluebirds are very agile when flying, and it is difficult for human weapons to hit us. She knew that the other party wanted to vent her anger for her. At worst, after the elders' meeting is over, I will let the bird catch her and beat her up. I'm not. However, before she finished her words, King Yuan, who was originally flying in the air, suddenly screamed and fell straight down. Then, Chu Jian, who was half kneeling with a sniper rifle, chuckled and said, "Is it difficult? I don't think so." Today's third update is also delivered on time. Hehe, the little author is working hard. Thanks again to the little angels for their support. Open bracket closed bracket _ Chapter 996 King Meng and King Yi 1. We didn't agree to cooperate with humans in the first place, but you insisted that this human was particularly sincere, saying that there were many benefits to cooperating with humans, and he would never listen to the advice of us elders. Now you see, King Yuan was beaten like this by him. As the leader of the Bluebird clan, you know how important wings are to us. The elder was so angry that he blew his beard and glared and kept complaining about King Meng's mistakes. In short, this human beat King Yuan severely. If he doesn't apologize, don't even think about leaving our Bluebird clan. As for cooperation, don't even think about it. He has always been opposed to cooperating with humans, so he persuaded King Meng to give up cooperation countless times in the past few days, and he even did a lot of things in private. Just when he thought he could make a fuss about it and drive away the human who came to propose cooperation, he didn't expect to hear the news that King Yuan was injured. The most important thing is that the one who injured King Yuan was the human who proposed cooperation. This made him both angry and secretly happy. He was naturally angry that this human was so audacious, and he was happy that the cooperation was definitely ruined. But no matter what, he had to seek justice for King Yuan first. Great Elder. It was obviously King Yuan who was rude to the guests first, and then she was disrespectful to the clan leader, so she ended up like this. The fifth elder on the side couldn't stand it anymore. She didn't fly far away to find someone to help, but stopped in the air waiting for King Meng's order. So King Yuan's verbal offense to King Meng and King Yuan being attacked by Chu Jian were all seen by her. But she didn't think Chu Jian did anything wrong, because it was indeed King Yuan who was wrong first. And the other party repeatedly offended King Meng, the clan leader, and if it was according to the clan rules, he should be punished. After the words fell, the seventh elder, who was in the same camp as the first elder, immediately retorted, "Even if King Yuan was wrong in this matter, it is not the turn of a human to deal with it. Is it possible that the clan rules of our clan are just for show? Besides, it is the responsibility of the clan leader to protect the clan birds, so King Meng is also responsible for this matter. So you know that our clan has clan rules. I saw you attacking the clan leader with such words, and I thought you all forgot the 11th clan rule of our clan," she retorted unconvincedly. "If the clan leader is wrong, the elders should hold a meeting to discuss and vote on the matter. I don't know what you are so anxious to shout about here now. I'm afraid you guys want to fish in troubled waters to pull King Meng off the stage, so that the one you support can sit on the throne of the clan leader? As King Meng's best friend and most loyal supporter, she hates these stupid elders who come to step on each other when something happens. She has seen how difficult King Meng has been over the years. However, in the eyes of these old-fashioned elders, everything the other party has done is justified. That's fine. The most important thing is that the elders headed by the Great Elder have always believed that King Meng's sister is more suitable to be the clan leader. So once they get the chance, they will try to find faults in King Meng and try to bring her down." Hearing this, the Great Elder looked over with dissatisfaction. "Fifth Elder, I can understand that you are still young and impulsive, but you must have evidence to say these things. Seventh Elder is clearly doing good for the Bluebird clan, so he is anxious to correct the mistakes made by King Meng. Although he is more inclined to King Meng's sister, the old clan leader specifically explained before his death that the position of the new clan leader can only be taken over by King Meng. Therefore, he only makes things difficult for the other party in small matters. He will not take action on big things like today, so as not to let outsiders laugh at their Bluebird clan. Of course, he never thought that those small things he thought of had made King Meng so anxious. If it weren't for King Meng's outstanding ability and good mentality, these things would have crushed her and affected the development of the Bluebird clan. With the support of the Great Elder, the 7th Elder smiled and said, however, the mistake King Meng made this time can be made up, as long as she asks that human to apologize to King Yuan. By the way, the gift must be generous, such as the cotton nest and snacks. You can bring more. The cubs in the tribe like these things very much. There is not enough to share. When Chu Jiadan came to visit the Bluebird tribe before, he took away the job of entertaining guests from the 5th Elder, and he took the gifts from the other party and ran away. However, he did not think that there was anything wrong with what he did, because in his opinion, it was natural for humans to offer sacrifices to the Bluebird tribe. Although he had never received offerings from humans, he had heard from his grandfather that when there were many humans, they often came to the Bluebird tribe to offer sacrifices. Fruits, wine, and food were the most basic offerings, and gold, silver and jewelry were not uncommon. What's more, they would also make golden statues of bluebirds for offering. So when he learned that humans came to visit the Bluebird tribe, he immediately drove away the 5th Elder and took away the gifts. Of course, in his eyes, those things were not gifts, but offerings specially presented by Chu Jiadan. Hearing this, King Meng, who had been silent, suddenly spoke with a cold face. I don't think I'm wrong. What happened today was originally King Yuan's fault. According to the clan rules, she should also be punished by plucking feathers. Mr. Chu just let her suffer it in advance. Also, 7th Elder, you accepted the gift from others, but did not do anything, and left them at the entrance of our clan's territory. Such behavior is really condemnable. Since you and the Great Elder are talking about my faults word by word, why don't we discuss how to deal with you first? She was really fed up with the accusations of these elders. They didn't mention the grievances she had suffered at all, but only asked her to bring Chu Jiadan to apologize, and even wanted her to snatch things from others. Such an unkind and unjust thing, she really couldn't do it. Besides, half of the reason why Chu Jiadan attacked King Yuan was because of her, so she couldn't stab him in the back. As soon as she finished speaking, the Great Elder raised his cane and pointed at her. King Meng, I think you have really gone mad. At this time, you don't help the Bluebird clan, but instead help a human to fight against us. It seems that what King Yuan said is right. You really colluded with humans. Great Elder, how can you throw such dirty water on the clan leader? The 5th Elder was very anxious to defend her. The clan leader is acting impartially. How can he collude with humans? Hearing this, the 7th Elder, who was named by her, couldn't help but said sarcastically, King Meng always speaks for humans, and even a discerning bird can see how biased she is. If I had known that she was such a bird, I shouldn't have agreed to let her take the position. Anyway, her sister King Yi is also very talented, and she can be the clan leader. Before the 7th Elder finished speaking, a beautiful woman rushed in. Source today's first update is delivered on time. Thank you little angels for your support. 030. Chapter 997 King Meng and King Yi 2. Seeing this, the Great Elder was stunned for a moment, but he quickly came to his senses and changed his previous stern tone. King Yi, why are you here? He remembered that King Yi had caught a cold a few days ago, so he stayed in the nest to rest and recuperate. Ahem. I came here to attend the elders meeting. King Yi came all the way and coughed several times as soon as he opened his mouth. As the 18th Elder of the tribe, I'm qualified to attend the elders meeting, and I'm also qualified to express my opinions. Hearing this, he first asked the 7th Elder to come forward and support King Yi, and then said, as an elder, you are naturally qualified to express your opinions, but we haven't held the elders meeting yet. We are just having a simple discussion with the tribe leader. The elders meeting will start in about an hour. As soon as he finished speaking, he saw King Yi walk a few steps to the side and avoid the hand that the 7th Elder stretched out. This picture made him a little confused. He didn't understand what King Yi meant. Just when he was puzzled, he saw the other party walking towards King Meng. Chief, I agree to cooperate with humans, and I also support your punishment of King Yuan. He was even more confused when he heard this. You know, all the birds in the Blue Bad tribe know that King Yi and King Meng have been irreconcilable for a long time. Since the latter took the position of the chief, the former has been sick and taking medicine all day long. When it is serious, she can't even go out. As the elder sister, King Meng doesn't care about her sister King Yi's life or death at all. She usually doesn't ask about her, and she doesn't even go back to the nest. It is precisely because of this that many birds in the tribe have complaints about King Meng, thinking that King Meng doesn't even care about her own sister, which is really cold-blooded. So he, who was dissatisfied with King Meng being the chief, quietly turned to King Yi's side. Who would have thought that King Yi came out once in a while and actually came to support King Meng? Well, I see. King Meng did not show too much concern for King Yi. She still maintained a calm and official look. Since you are here, just sit in your elder seat. If you have any ideas or opinions, wait until the elders meeting begins. After she finished speaking, she looked at the great elder and said, let's continue discussing the previous topic. I see that you are all unwilling to cooperate with humans, so I will not mention this matter for the time being. Next, let's start from the initial cause. First, the 7th elder accepted the gift, but did not do anything. If you are determined not to cooperate with humans, then please trouble the 7th elder to return the gift to Mr. Chu, and then we can talk about King Yuan's injured wings. Hearing this, the 7th elder retorted without thinking, why should we return it? We didn't ask him to give it to us. He insisted on giving it to us. Besides, it is a great blessing for him, a human being, to come to the holy land of my Bluebird clan, so those things should be provided to our Bluebird clan for use. He accepted the things Chu Jian brought, because he was doing it for the good of the Bluebirds. He only kept 7 or 8 treasures, and distributed all the other things. Your face can be used as a wall. The 5th elder was getting angrier and angrier as she listened. What do you mean by offering to the Bluebirds? I think you are old and your mind is not clear. You still think that this is the era of the gods. She was in charge of the Changwan Pavilion of the Bluebirds, which was a place for the Bluebirds to keep their books. She was also responsible for compiling and popularizing the history of the tribe. So she could tell from the words of the 7th elder that the other party wanted to return to the era of the gods recorded in the tribe history and live a life of being worshipped and respected by thousands of people. You have to know that the reason why she could become King Meng's best friend was because she and the other party had the same ideas. They believed that the Bluebirds were now just ordinary demons and they should not always look down on other demons. Besides, other demons were not really inferior to the Bluebirds. Most of the demon tribes are actually descendants of mythical beasts, such as the Jade Rabbit tribe and the Dog Demon tribe. The ancestors of the former were responsible for pounding medicine on the moon, while the ancestors of the latter were the majestic roaring sky dog, which was no less powerful than their ancestor, the Bluebird. To put it bluntly, if someone's ancestors did not have a mythical beast, their Bluebird tribe would not be that powerful. Hearing this, the 7th elder, whose thoughts were touched, blushed like an apple. Don't talk nonsense. Everything I do is for the good of the Bluebird tribe. Hey, you are anxious. You are anxious. You are anxious. The 5th elder smiled disapprovingly. If you really think it is for the good of the Bluebird tribe, then quickly return Mr. Chu's things, so that he won't shoot your wings. It was only when she flew back to inquire about the situation that she realized that the weapon Chu Jian used was called a gun. To be honest, she was really shocked at the time. She didn't expect Chu Jian to knock down King Yuan, who was flying high, with just one move. The opponent's ability really impressed her. You should know that they fly very fast, and many monsters find it difficult to attack them with weapons or spells when they are flying. This is also the reason why the Bluebird clan has been safe and sound for these years, although their combat effectiveness is not high. As long as they fly fast enough, they will not be harmed by other monsters. While the Bluebirds were arguing, Tu Mark Su, who was staying outside the hall, was anxiously walking back and forth. Seeing this, Chu Jian just smiled nonchalantly. Why don't you sit down and rest for a while? Aren't you tired of walking around? As he said that, he took out a mat from the Ziji space, threw it beside him, and patted it twice with a smile. RRR. How can you still have the mind to sit and eat snacks? Tumaksu yelled madly. You heard that, King Gillen. This cooperation is definitely going to fail. When he heard this, he didn't rush to answer, but calmly stuffed a snowflake crisp to eat. After spending nearly a day here, he was already hungry and wanted to eat roast bad meat. Well, I don't know if Wen Jiu can cook bad meat. Come to think of it, he seems to have never eaten rabbit meat. As he thought about it, his thoughts drifted further and further away. Why are you still distracted? Are you listening? Tumaksu felt even more uncomfortable when she saw him like this. It's over. If my mother-in-law knew that I had such a grudge, she would definitely use magic to throw me into the psychedelic lake to soak. After he finished speaking, Chujayan came back to his senses. So the elder can also use magic? Is being thrown into the psychedelic lake considered a punishment? When Tumaksu heard this, he was so angry that his ears stood up. Excuse me, is it time to talk about this? Aren't you worried that this cooperation will fail? He shouldn't have brought Chujayan with him. The other party is indeed as unreliable as Wen Jiu. Today's second update has also been successfully delivered. Thanks again to the little angels for their support. 030. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 998 King Yi Goes Crazy 1. How about I sneak back and find my mother-in-law? My mother-in-law will definitely be able to subdue these fools, he said, and the more he thought about it, the more he felt that this method was feasible. Then don't even mention the gift you gave me. I'm afraid these fools will double it back. Chujayan waved his hand in disapproval. That's not necessary. I can get the gift back myself, and they'll double it back. He felt bad when he heard this. What are you going to do? You're not going to do something to the bluebirds, are you? He hesitated for several minutes, but in the end he couldn't say the word extermination. Although he knew that the elders of the bluebirds were sick, most of the bluebirds were still normal. Even if the 7th elder had cheated Chujayan of his gift, it wouldn't be the case that the bluebirds would be exterminated. Just when he was thinking about it, he heard Chujayan casually said, "It depends on the situation. If they keep making mistakes, it will only take me 1 or 2 seconds to wipe out the clan. Can you please stop talking about genocide as if it's a midnight snack?" Tumaksu was really angry and went crazy. That's genocide. No one in the clan will be left alive. Can you not be so nonchalant? He was stern at Chujayan while lowering his voice, fearing that his voice would be too loud and attract the attention of the bluebirds. He was so tired. He was really tired. He suddenly understood why Wen Jiu wanted to keep Chujayan. The other party must have anticipated this situation and deliberately tormented him. However, Wen Jiu did not keep Chujayan to torment him, but because the 13th military region did not allow Chujayan to go with him. Although he knew Wen Jiu's dilemma, it did not prevent him from putting the blame on the other party at this time. Okay, let's just go with the flow. At worst, we can just take the gifts and go home. Chujayan stuffed another piece of nougat into his mouth. I don't know when instant lunch boxes will be available. Eating snacks won't fill you up. As he spoke, he took out a bottle of nutrient solution, then skillfully opened the lid and drank it. The annoying feeling of hunger was finally relieved a lot. Seeing this, Tumaksu showed a disheartened expression. You actually still have an appetite to eat. Aren't you afraid that Wen Jiu will know that you are not doing a good job and will punish you when he comes back? Well, I'm not afraid. He supported his chin with one hand and thought seriously. If I blindly try to please the Bluebird clan in order to achieve cooperation, then Wen Jiu will definitely scold me when he comes back. So it is better for me to handle it according to my own ideas. Besides, if she knew that the Bluebird clan wanted to take the gifts for free, she would definitely come out and drive a mecha to blow it up, which is better than me destroying the entire Bluebird clan. As soon as he finished speaking, Tumaksu trembled. Are you and your sister so rude? it can't be considered rude. He glanced at each other with a smile. When we meet someone who is reasonable, we will be reasonable. And when we meet someone who doesn't want to be reasonable, then we will naturally take action. This look made Tumaksu even more frightened, and he could only silently move 2 steps to the side. Fortunately, he did not take advantage of the brother and sister. Otherwise, with his useless fighting power, he would definitely be beaten into a rabbit meat pie by the two. However, he did not have the thick skin of the elders of the Bluebird clan. Although he was a little impetuous due to his youth, he still had a very strong sense of morality. Moreover, there was a fair and highly cultivated elder in the clan, so even if there were rabbits who wanted to make trouble, they would not be able to make any waves. Thinking of this, he could not help but feel sorry for King Meng. The other party's ability was absolutely beyond doubt, but they were dragged down by a group of idiots. He still hoped that King Meng could take advantage of this situation to gain a foothold, otherwise the Bluebird clan would be destroyed by those idiots sooner or later. If the other party had not been trying to make friends with other demon clans over the years, those elders would have caused the various demon clans to gather and come to attack. Although their Jade Rabbit clan stayed in the Emperor's Rest Valley and lived a secluded life, he never thought of cutting off contact with other demon clans, and even encouraged the rabbit spirits to go out and make friends with other demon clans. Because he knew that a single chopstick can be broken, but a bunch of chopsticks are difficult to break. However, the stupid elders of the Bluebird clan always took advantage of their status as descendants of divine beasts, causing trouble everywhere and disgusting the demons, causing many demons to want to break off relations with the Bluebird clan. And these elders of the Bluebird clan thought that breaking off relations was a good thing. Because they looked down on most of the demons, they thought that breaking off relations would raise the status of the Bluebird clan. It was really stupid. Okay. If you don't want to return the gift, you can. King Meng really didn't have the patience to waste any more time. Either you go out and tell Mr. Chu yourself, or I'll tie you up and tell Mr. Chu. Haven't I cleaned up enough messes for you over the years? This time I will definitely not help you make up for your mistakes again. Hearing this, the Great Elder couldn't help but look at the 7th Elder. The 2 birds were naturally unwilling to return the gift, but they didn't want to face Mr. Chu. After all, just looking at King Yuan's injuries made them feel cold all over. Their flying ability, which they have always been proud of, is nothing in front of Mr. Chu. If they were really asked to say it in front of Mr. Chu, they would probably die here today. Patriarch. The 7th Elder finally spoke up. You are the patriarch of our Bluebird clan, so naturally you have to deal with this matter. You also said that this is a distinguished guest of the Bluebird clan. If 2 of us elders go to meet the distinguished guest, it would be a bit rude, right? Hearing this, the 5th Elder was so angry that he couldn't help laughing. 7th Elder, why didn't I realize that you are so shameless before? When you have nothing to do, you call the patriarch by his real name. When you encounter something, you quickly call him the patriarch and seek protection. Do you still have any shame? Oh, I forgot. You are too thick-skinned, and it won't make any difference if you don't have an old face. If she hadn't remembered that the 7th Elder was older than her, she would have rushed up to fight with the other party. You should know that the position of elders of the Bluebird clan is based on strength and votes from the birds in the clan, so she is not afraid of the 7th Elder at all. As soon as she finished speaking, the Great Elder said dissatisfiedly, Old 5. Stop adding fuel to the fire. She wanted to refute back when she heard this, but before she could open her mouth, she saw a figure flash by. The next second, the 7th Elder exclaimed. King Yi, who had been sitting in silence, rushed to the 7th Elder with a feather blade. The sharp feather blade was very close to the 7th Elder's pupil, as if it would pierce in if it was a millimeter closer. Today's 3rd update has also been delivered smoothly. Please check it out. Little Angels 030. Chapter 999. King Yi goes crazy too. Tumaksu looked at the 7th Elder in front of him in a trance, and Fang Ruke looked as if he was going to faint in the next second. He really didn't expect things to develop into what they are now. First, the elders of the Bluebird tribe cheated them of the gifts and left them alone, and then Chu Jiayan beat King Yuan in anger. When he thought that this cooperation would fail and he would be kicked out, suddenly King Yi came out and took the 7th Elder to apologize to them without saying a word, and returned all the gifts he had received before. This unexpected change really shocked him. "Mr. Chu, most of the gifts you brought are here." King Meng, the clan leader, stood up. "Some snacks were eaten by the cubs. Please give me a specific price, and I will compensate you for the other things at that price." Upon hearing this, Chu Jiayan did not answer immediately, but asked King Meng another question. "What about the cooperation?" This question instantly confused King Meng. She thought that the cooperation would be ruined, but she didn't expect Chu Jiayan to be willing to cooperate with the Bluebird clan. Of course, she wanted to cooperate with Chu Jiayan, because there were too many benefits to cooperation, so she tried hard to persuade other elders. But since she knew that the 7th elder was neglectful and rude, and King Yuan came to find trouble and was beaten, she felt that this cooperation was out of the question. She was even prepared to apologize in various ways, but Chu Jiayan was willing to trust her regardless of the past. So she thought seriously for a moment before saying, "Mr. Chu, I really want to reach this cooperation with you, and I'm contacting you with 100% sincerity. If you are willing to put aside the past, I will give you a reply tomorrow morning as I promised you before." In fact, she and Chu Jiayan had originally agreed to do it today, but various things have made it until now. Now it is late, and she is really embarrassed to let Chu Jiayan wait. "I'm very satisfied with your attitude, so I will put aside the past," Chu Jiayan answered directly. "I don't think there is any need to wait until tomorrow morning. Aren't you going to the elders meeting now? Then discuss it directly and give a result." He has wasted several days in the Bluebird clan. If it weren't for King Meng's sincerity, he would have taken back the gift and left. Even if Tu Marxu persuaded him, it would be useless. No one can control what he wants to do. Well, except Wen Jiu. As soon as he finished speaking, King Meng agreed, which made the tied up 7th elder even more ashamed and angry. "King Meng, how can you let outsiders participate in the elders meeting? You are violating the ancestors and the clan rules. Aren't you afraid of being struck by thunder?" Before the other party could finish his words, he was slapped by the beautiful girl next to him. Seeing this, King Meng just glanced at him lightly, then turned his head and looked at him and said, "Mr. Chu, please." He didn't care about the embarrassed 7th elder, but just dragged Tu Marxu behind King Meng. The internal affairs of the Bluebird clan should be handled by the Bluebird clan. He only needed to get the cooperation done. Anyway, King Meng's attitude was very clear. The other party would not let the 7th elder off easily, so he was too lazy to care about anything. Of course, the main reason why he ignored it was that most of the previous gifts were taken back, otherwise he would definitely find the 7th elder to settle the account. Tu Marxu followed Chu Jiayan in a trance, and he was in a state of wondering all the way. The apology and return of the gift by the 7th elder were secondary. He was most shocked by the beautiful girl. If he remembered correctly, the other party should be King Meng's sister. But even an outsider like him knew that King Meng and his biological sister had always been at odds. At first, he did not believe such outrageous rumors, but later he visited the Bluebird clan and saw King Meng quarreling with his biological sister with his own eyes. He knew that the rumors outside were actually true. Now he saw the latter standing up for the former, and at this moment he had a sense of confusion and shock. Ahem. King Gai pulled the rope that tied the 7th elder and walked forward at a very slow speed. Seeing this, the 7th elder roared, half confused and half angry, "King Gai, why are you helping King Meng like this? When you were sick, she ignored you and relied on us elders to take care of you carefully." He really couldn't understand why King Gai did this. He and the Great Elder were the ones who supported King Yi the most, and they often made trouble for King Meng for King Yi. Ahem. Do I need a reason to help my sister? King Yi was coughing until her face turned pale, and she was almost out of breath, but she refused to shout to King Meng and others in front to slow down. It was only when the 5th elder turned around and saw King Yi halfway through that he hurried over to help her walk forward slowly. As bluebirds, they could fly, but they had to walk to accompany her because of Chu Jiayan and Tu Marxu. "King Yi, leave the 7th elder to me." The 5th elder couldn't help showing a trace of worry. "I'll take the 7th elder to Yilan Hall first, so you can walk slowly behind." Hearing this, King Yi let go of the rope. She first watched the 5th elder and the 7th elder leave, then glanced at King Meng and others who were about to disappear, and then endured the discomfort, and continued to chase forward. Although all the bluebirds thought that she and King Meng had a bad relationship, she knew that her sister was the best to her. She used to think that King Meng was a heartless bird who ignored her frail sister and was busy outside all day and had never come home many times. She had resented and been angry until one time when she went to Yilan Palace, she ran into King Meng and the 5th elder talking. Only then did she know that King Meng had been worried about her. The other party even traded with the Jade Rabbit clan for her, using the top grade lapis lazuli that he had finally found in exchange for various elixirs that could cure her. Since then, she often looked for opportunities to follow King Meng. Gradually, she knew a lot of things, and she gradually understood the other party, and no longer had resentment like before. "We're here, let's go in." King Meng raised her hand to open the door of the Elders' Hall, letting Chu Jiayan and 2 Marks Wu go in first. Then she glanced behind her as if unintentionally, and turned to go in after confirming that King Ai was fine. All 20 elders of the Blue Bad tribe have arrived. Even the tied up 7th elder is sitting inside. Everyone has different expressions when they see her. Seeing this, she just smiled calmly and said, "Let me introduce you. These 2 are my distinguished guests of the Bluebird tribe. Ding ding ding, today's first update has been successfully delivered. Thank you to every little angel for your support and love." Chapter 1000, Sister Farke has grown taller 1. While Chu Jiayan was entangled with the bluebirds, Wen Jiu was fighting in the fields with a hoe. She was wearing rain boots, provided by Yuan Kinga, and she was digging the soil in the mud. Every time she swung the hoe, it would bring up mud and water. "Can you be more careful?" Shenzing, who was almost splashed, couldn't help but shout, "Are you digging mud, or are you messing with me?" Hearing this, she shrugged helplessly. "Of course I'm digging mud. Who told you to fly so close? Why don't you fly farther?" How could she know that Shenzing would suddenly fly over and was almost hit by the mud and water she brought up? In order to dig mud with peace of mind, she even changed her clothes. Now her sleeves are full of mud and water, so dirty that she herself hates it. "Okay, you're awesome. Keep going. I'm leaving." Shenzing flew higher with dissatisfaction. "Come on, the sun will set in a quarter of an hour, and we'll have to go back and rest then." She dug the mud while listening to the other party's nagging. "Didn't you say before that you wouldn't sleep if you couldn't dig up the moon shadow crystal? Why do you say now that you'll go back to rest as soon as the sun sets? TSK, you don't want them to keep digging with lights on, do you?" Shenzing deliberately lowered his voice when he said this. Hearing this, Wen Jiu just dug the mud seriously. "Not really. I still want to have a good rest, but I think they have such a plan." At the beginning, they were still studying how to repair the formation and how to find all the materials, but Shenzing insisted on finding the moon shadow crystal buried in other places in the base. The other party suspected that the formation protecting the base was constructed with moon shadow crystal, so they carried hoes and dug according to the positions they sensed. In fact, she personally didn't quite understand Shenzing's idea. Although she knew that the formation needed spiritual stones or spiritual treasures to maintain or even construct, she didn't understand why the other party wanted to find the moon shadow crystal. Did he want to see the situation of those moon shadow crystals? She asked Shenzing again and again, but he refused to tell her the reason. She had no choice but to join the mud digging team with a hoe. She wanted to see what the other party was up to. However, one thing she could be sure of was that the crystal ball she had taken away before was made of the so-called moon shadow crystal. But she didn't understand why the god Sulemei called it shadow crystal. "Excuse me, is it more powerful if it is renamed?" And she was also very confused because Shenzing had said very confidently before that she couldn't have seen the moon shadow crystal. Why was the other party so confident, and what was the connection with the moon shadow crystal? How did these things become more and more complicated? The more Wen Jiu thought about it, the more headache he felt. He could only dig the mud vigorously to vent his dissatisfaction. Who knew that, when she dug the hoe, a light purple light came out? "I dug it up." She looked at the halo under her feet with a blank face. "Mirage, you fool. Mirage, you fool. I dug it up." As soon as these words came out, the Mirage Zing, who had floated far away, immediately floated back. The expression on his face was very complicated, half of which was dissatisfaction with her shouting, and half of which was surprise that she dug it up. Is it this? She squatted down and dug a few times with her hands, digging up the soil around. Hearing this, Mirage Zing fell to the ground with disgust. I feel the breath of the moon shadow crystal. It should be it. He made a look at Wen Jiu, wanting him to step aside and not interfere with his research on this piece of moon shadow crystal. It is not known whether Wen Jiu did it intentionally or unintentionally. After looking at him, the other party was indifferent and even dug the soil on the surface with his hands. Seeing this, he could only take a deep breath. You move aside, don't block me. Oh, then I'll squat on the side and watch. Okay, Wen Jiu said, and moved to the side. Anyway, the pit she dug was big enough for 3 or 4 people to stand in. Seeing her like this, Shenzing had to give up the idea of letting her leave. Then Lan Zinai also brought people around, but they all stayed on the pit and had no intention of jumping down to watch. Because everyone kept silent and did not make any noise to disturb Shenzing, he did not drive these people away. He first sensed the size of the moon shadow crystal and then closed the index finger and middle finger of his left hand vertically. In just a few seconds, a faint purple light lit up from the joint of the fingertips, and in the blink of an eye it flew in the direction he pointed. Come closer, be careful not to get hurt. He glanced at the place where Wen Jiu was squatting. He saw that the other party still had an expression of watching the fun, which made him feel even more helpless. Although he had forgotten a lot of things in the past, he could pat his chest and guarantee that he had never seen anyone more difficult than Wen Jiu. Whether it was a human or a monster, he had never encountered it. What was the magic he just cast for? The other party came back to his senses at this moment and moved towards where he was standing. Hearing this, he couldn't help but sneer. Why ask so many questions? Just watch. This was the answer given to him by the other party when he asked Wen Jiu why he used a sniper rifle to shoot prey on the way to the headquarters of the 13th Military Region. Things have changed, and it was finally his turn to say this. Hearing this, Wen Jiu instantly understood that Shenzing was looking for trouble. She didn't mind the other party doing this, she just thought it was a little funny. The great demon has lived for thousands of years, but he still cares about her, a little girl. Just as she was thinking about how to fight back against Shenzing, she saw that the halo not far away was getting more and more dazzling. Just when she wanted to close her eyes, the halo seemed to have never appeared, and it dimmed in an instant until it disappeared. Okay, the moon shadow crystal is buried here. A ray of purple light flew into Shenzing's hand. The spiritual power contained in it is enough to maintain the formation for 3 months, which is no different from the time I put it out before. Hearing this, Wen Jiu asked curiously, you know it now. Don't you want to dig it out and take a look? As soon as she finished speaking, Shenzing rolled his eyes at her. What are you digging for? If you dig it out, the formation will collapse. Are you responsible? The other party flew into the air without waiting for her answer, and then glanced at the people who were standing there. Today, I dug up the first crystal, and I have just confirmed it. Shenzing's voice at this moment was full of convincing majesty. Tomorrow I will have to trouble you to dig out the remaining crystals. After all of them are confirmed, I will tell you how to repair the formation. After the other party finished speaking, he turned into smoke and disappeared, which surprised the people who were already standing there. Seeing this, Wen Jiu put down the hoe speechlessly. The speed of the Mirage River was too fast. Wasn't it obvious that she was going to finish it? Unfortunately, she would not do what he wanted. So she said hello to Lan Zinai first, then took out her long sword and left. The second update of the day was sent by the little author. Please check it out. Little Angels 030. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.